Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up.
Good morning, magandang umaga, masanting araw, mayang buntag.
Good morning, guys. We're going to let the room build up. We thought we would cover the live stream we did a couple days ago. Okay. This is going to be in regards to the Dumaguete drama. Usually our live streams would be like tomorrow, but we've received hundreds of emails and people making comments. It's been pro Mark, it's been against Mark. It's been about what legal ramifications are coming. Some claim they've actually seen the video. That's not what we're going to bring into light today. I'm going to put up the link to this live stream. We want to hear from you guys what you feel could possibly happen. This is unusual for us. We usually let 1 or 2 people in that we know, but we will listen to people, like let you guys talk. We're not going to bring in 6, 7 people. We're not going to put up a timer. We're going to bring pretty much one person. I think we're just going to let one in at a time, or did you want to let multiples in to talk? As long as they didn't cut each other off. We really haven't thought about
respectful, you know?
Right. As long as it goes respectful. If we think it's, like out of hand, we're not going to let it run like we've seen some others where it just totally gets out of hand, because we actually want people to understand what's going on. I will let you know, and I was just looking for the remark. We did send this to Mark Thornton this morning. Okay.
Hey, Mark.
This is not against Mark. This is not against
invited.
Justin Carmack. This is not against any of the guys, the previous guy that was on that said he knew the story.
Philip.
This is about, we said it's like a lesson or a teaching moment in regards to what not
we would
to
like
do.
to educate you, we would like to, inform you of things you can't do.
Yeah, I mean, we know that it's about drama. We might snicker, we might throw our 2 cents in there, but at the end of the day, we truly are a neutral party because we do not know either parties. We only know Justin and Mark Thornton and some of the other guys just by messages or, being on their Facebook. Mark Thornton's response this morning exactly, and I'm going to say it, whether, he's watching this or not. He said, sorry, not interested. And I thought personally that was kind of a short answer, but I told George we at least had to offer him to come on because we've rewatched his video and over again. where he admitted that he asked a guy to step out at ground zero and that he knew that it was going to be about fighting. And his exact words was he threw the first 2 punches at him.
Right. And yes, and be aware that in any um discrepancy, legal battle, anything, even arguments, it doesn't mean that one party stays silent. It doesn't mean they're guilty.
Right.
Don't assume.
And our personal advice is I wouldn't be posting videos. We said this on the previous live stream. It is still a legal matter, and I stand by what I'm about ready to say. As we said in the previous, it's very well possible that there's a lot of things on the line for Mark today. And I said a possibility, it may never even happen, but he could be deported or blacklisted. It's not even out of the question. As we're to understand, the other guy's making his move now. He's been silent. Excuse me.
That's the scary part. It's when, see, here's the thing with anybody with any arguments or fights. It's the silent one you have to worry about because they're
Mhm.
passive aggressive, meaning they don't show their cards at the start of the game. They show them at the end, which means they can hit you where you don't even know it. They blindside you.
And more than likely, as I'm to understand, or what people are saying, I'm just going to go by that. I don't know him. The other guy's got money. And at the end of the day, it's going to also be who's got the most money, even if it's by $10,000 in the bank. That is Mark Thornton's response. Let me get back to that. So his response is he won't appear here. So we're not going to get anything additional. I think if he does, honestly, I think he wants it on his own channel.
And Mark, if you're watching, you're welcome.
Yeah, he is still more than welcome. I wouldn't expect him to because he's not going to. First off, he's made it clear that he does only deal in men on his channel. Why would he come on to a female expat channel? And Filipino husband. And why would he come on and promote what's going on? I mean, he's already leaving his video up. So he could be deported or blacklisted, or it's about the same thing. He could be almost the same thing. I know it's not, but he could at that point, then he would lose his family. The second thing or third thing is that we had our YouTube meeting. It was canceled the other day. We canceled it. We went out for Valentine's instead.
Yeah, it was Valentine's Day.
And so we spoke with her yesterday, and we were talking about guidelines, going through things, no name dropping, no giving channels, which, by the way, they're at our call right now. So, but I had mentioned to her about what if there was a legal matter and somebody here had a channel and they were actually fighting or hit somebody and broadcasted it. They said not only under the Google guidelines, okay, but their guidelines, that type of channel could be terminated without any strikes, without anything. So if people continue or have reported his channel, I want to mention, I just seen another channel, and I'm going to mention his first name. It's okay if you guys mention his name. Andy had actually put out a short. He's giving out the telephone number to the embassy. He's really gunning that people report Mark Thornton in regards to this. So this is something else we've seen in the last, I think it's been 24, 48 hours. So he's got a short out, like calling all guys to actually turn him in for this. I think that's a little extreme.
Okay, now, okay. All right, the reason why I side is because there's a difference between, it's kind of like journalism. YouTubing is like journalism. It's very akin to it, meaning actually YouTube has overrun journalism. Journalism is pretty much almost dead, honestly. I mean, any journalists out there will agree with me. Like, yeah, we lose to YouTubers. And
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying
it's
is
going to be put out first by YouTube.
now, first off, we're the influencers. We're the opposite of influencers, meaning we are actually the ones like, hey, you don't do this. Hey, you don't do that. Hey,
Yeah, we're not kissing.
we're
butt and
de-influencers.
yeah, we're the
Influencers
opposite.
are the ones that say, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do that. Now,
Well,
not picking on what whoever Heidi mentioned before. An influencer to say, hey, you should do this.
he's like the
Here's
original.
the number. That's influencing. Now, the problem with that is you're pushing your out view to your crowd which to me, again,
So you think he personally just wants him to go down? And
correct.
just trying to,
It
you know, what
that has nothing to do. Again, has nothing to do with that person in particular. It's kind of like you guys have heard again the word Bible thumping, which means it's somebody pushing their religion on you. They're forcing their religion. Hey, you should do this. You should do this. That's influencing, and that's, in my opinion, not proper. If you want to switch to a religion, you do it willingly. If you want to report somebody, you do it willingly. You
Right.
don't push, hey, you should do this. And again, regardless of who's right or wrong in this situation, I don't think anybody should say, hey, you guys should report this guy or report this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I'm just letting you know, I'm just saying that our manager, without name dropping, actually said that channel could be terminated. Exact story, no name dropped.
No, we didn't
So
mention any
his
names.
channel could and was told by YouTube and their policies could be removed. Okay. So she answered a ton of questions. And I was like, wow, that kind of sheds a different light. I think we had one person that mentioned it in our comments. So we've had a bunch of comments besides messages through Messenger. We've had a bunch through email. We haven't been able to get to them all. There's quite a few of them in there. Um, I never thought about the end of him losing his channel, but I'm still surprised that the video is still up. That's where it just blows my mind. And we are not the only ones that have covered this, but let me tell you what the other channels have done. They've actually said other stuff about the surrounding situation. Okay. There's also probably 50 other channels in that area and in this area where they're sharing their personal feelings about it. He's such an idiot. He's this, he's that. So they're using their channel to 100% give their personal views. Honestly, I don't give two craps both ways. Like, I mean, like that guy Dexter, you know, Mark Thornton, they're, to me, they're just expats. Okay, I wouldn't wish harm on anybody. My biggest thoughts go to his wife right now, okay, which is pregnant. I know he just purchased a car. I know that his finances are wrapped in the YouTube channel and some other investments and all of that, and him living here. It would be really rough if he had to, because he's already told his own story. So everybody has a basic idea what's going on with Mark and everything. And I don't give a flying two craps both ways. Okay. If what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and I'm going to squawk all over the place. Okay. My personal feelings this time, okay, with George is one thing, but for this situation, I think he's really put everything on the line and he's still not removing that video. And I get that he's not going to talk any further, but we did want to invite him if Justin Carmack is in the room, which we know he's been in the surrounding room. So I don't, you know, he's a busy guy. I don't expect that either. But if somebody, I'll put the link in here. Like I said, we really haven't made up our mind. We decided this last night whether we're going to let 3, 4 people in to discuss. As long as everybody keeps it civil. If somebody's in the room and says, "Hey, I can, you know, vouch for this or that." But here's the thing: there's a lot of people in our comment section that has, and I'll probably go through some of those comments today. There's been quite a few of them that have actually said this and that. We heard one guy came forward in our comments and mentioned that Ground Zero is not the place where Filipinas go and look for men. As a matter of fact, it's mostly middle class to upper class Filipinos that frequent that. And we're aware that that's the way it is here in Angel City. Most of the expensive establishments here are Filipinos. We're aware of that. Restaurants, casino, everything. So we get that. Now, I don't have any personal experience except for the videos that people put out that there are Filipinas that hang up there. And there are other expats that say they have met their Filipina up there. There are others that say there are women up there that whether they just come up there for coffee and sit around, but somebody was trying to say that that is not a hangout for Filipinas to look for, you know, guys. And nobody said that it was like the
Well, it's not like a club; it's a coffee place. I mean,
correct. So who knows? I know they do, but it was just the nobody's insinuating that it's a, you know, it's
yeah,
Angel City bar scene, but I
yeah,
think if that's what the women want to do, that's what the women are going to do. I mean, there are women that go and hang out at Starbucks in expensive neighborhoods, Lakewood
Well,
Ranch, Florida, just to see rich guys come by. I mean, I don't think
you-
there's much of a difference.
no, and even to the extreme, that's somewhat unfair. I'm not talking about that person who said that comment. It's unfair to assume that that's what's going on. Like I said, even to the extreme. Like, for instance, I know a lot of people, me included, go to bars and go to dance clubs and dance and disco and whatever. But we're not even close, remotely close to picking in the mode of picking up a partner. Not even close.
Yeah, no, George Entertainment. The same with me. I used to go with my sister. There was a place called New York in Clearwater, Florida, and everybody went there, like doctors, attorneys, people after work would literally swing by there, grab some food, and have their drinks and hang out with different
Right. In
friends.
fact, a lot of women, abhor people who pick them up in these places, even though technically they're pickup places. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things.
Oh my god. Just looking 1 second here, comment that just came in. This is why don't like, and I'm like, what does color got to do with it? What's that
Well,
got to
that's the thing.
do?
Sexuality, race, and nationality has nothing
Is
to
part
do
what was
with.
part of YouTubing. So we're just looking at a comment. It's funny how people will throw in that white guy Mark Thornton
Yeah,
and
see
that old guy
that
white,
kind of
Mark
disqualifies
Thornton.
that statement because
Or it's just or when they do it for me. That fat woman Heidi said
right,
too much, and I'm like, okay.
then it kind of disqualifies that statement too because now you're biased.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of those comments. We'll go through today. For those that don't know what's going on, now that I mentioned things that Mark could lose up to going to jail, it's a possibility. We're not saying that it's going to happen, but it's all on the table. We did have MYK, Mike's Philippine Journey. He did mention that he said it would go through the barangay, and he kind of went through some stages. Here's the thing: there was
Not
a
necessarily.
Filipino that came in and says, "No, I beg to
Not
differ."
necessarily.
And this is not against MYK. I'm just saying the comments that we received on the side. No, when I had my disruption, okay, which is what been about a year ago. Okay, they didn't sit me down in front of the
No, no, no.
barangay.
It
They
bypasses
didn't.
the barangay.
Even if it's a Filipino, it wasn't the Filipino
No.
who filed charges. It was the wife and the husband that did it. Okay, another vlogging channel. The only reason I cut the stuff off the table is because one, I'm not going to waste my money on that situation. Okay, I can't think of one expat in this area that I would waste that kind of money on to actually sit there and fight with them, because defamation and all these things cost money. That's why I often wondered why some channels don't file things against other channels, because it costs money to fight. You have to know when to pick and choose your battles. I think that channel was just trying to make me whatever. They were just trying to make an example out of me. But the only reason that I gave in was because I really do like his wife and him. I actually like them as people. I wasn't going to waste even $400 or $500. It was bad enough we already spent $200 to actually hire an attorney. Okay, but $200 is $200 I didn't want to spend, and I was hoping it would just die down when they were the ones, and it was just going back and forth. And to me, I had to draw back at that point and think about the consequences. Okay, and I apologize and still do. I would suggest now, Mark, start with that and remove the video, because right now, according to sources, the guy did go to the hospital and file something. Okay, it doesn't take the wrong guy. All he's got to do is go to the
No.
police station, file
No, Heidi's
reports
absolutely correct.
with the embassy. There's all kinds of things this guy can
Yeah.
do at this point. And it doesn't matter how much audio he has. He was telling his story like that was going to clear something. And it's not going to clear the story.
No. And again, to clarify what barangay is and the steps, or bypassing the steps rather. Now, for those of you who are somewhat new to the Philippine culture, there's something called barangay. Barangay is called an LGU, which is local government unit. Now, there's LGU, then police, and then after that would be your NBI or the FBI of the Philippines.
Mhm.
Now, the NBI, FBI won't be involved unless it has something to do with, the same things as FBI does, trafficking, all that kind of weird stuff, or extreme stuff rather, terrorism, that kind of stuff. Now, barangay. Here's the thing, and a lot of people don't understand this, and I'm not downing anybody. I'm not arguing with anybody. It's actually up to the prosecuting client if they go through the barangay. I meant air quotes that because, for instance, let's say my neighbor punched me. Okay, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, I'm Filipino. I'm like, should I go to the barangay or the police? Now, by experience and by observation, most of the cases solved in the barangay are kind of like the when you want an amicable resolution, meaning, for instance, you want money. For instance, they owe you money. You want your money back.
Amicable.
Yeah, correct. So that's what I'm getting at. But you don't have to go through the barangay. You can bypass the barangay entirely and go to the police. Hey, this guy assaulted me. That's up to the prosecuting client. And again, I put air quotes because again, if it was me, for example, then I could decide, should I go to the barangay or should I go to the police? I can bypass the barangay completely. Now the police, when you get there, they'll probably say, did you go to the barangay? And said, no, I want him in jail. That's my point. If they bypass the barangay, then they want technically blood. They want you in trouble.
Mhm.
When they go through the barangay, they want something, okay, you know what? Let's do this. You do this for me, and I do this for you, and let's shake hands on it and then walk away. If they go through the barangay. But if they go to the police, then you know they want you in trouble. That's the difference between.
Yeah. I'm going to post the StreamYard link. Again, we want people that'll
Yeah,
come
guys,
in and
comment
discuss.
or go on the live.
Okay. Because, like I said, we're just not going to let people in to sit there and give all a, something kind of off. It needs to be where it's constructive of some point. And I do see someone in there. I'll do this here in a minute. Somebody just came through. Let me see if I can find who that is. First off, I want to do a shout out to our members, Scott in the World as I see it. I thought I seen Sarah Focus in Asia. Hello, good morning, Ted. Good morning. He's also one of our moderators. I see a couple channels are actually in here. Expat Ian in the Philippines. We figured there'd be some channels in here this morning. What would you guys do if you were in Mark's shoes? I'd have walked away. That's what I'd have done. Yeah, I already said in the last live stream is okay. I feel Mark is the one in trouble. Now, if Mark would have punched me, okay, that would have been it. More than likely, it would have been a reaction to fight back. We're not saying the other guy would go to jail. Mark's clear words here, and I wrote them down this morning and rewatch. Let's step outside and settle this man to man. You know what that means. There's going to be a fight. His words. There's going to be a fight. And then he said he punched him first, and that he punched him first because he was agitated by the guy, and there was words exchanged in there. We can't say what they were. So in a case like that, okay, in a case like that, it is a natural reaction to at least defend yourself because according to Mark, the guy fell back and lost his balance and didn't know how to fight, and that he hit him several times. To me, that just goes to show maybe if he punched me and you punched him once back to walk away, but Mark threw it first. I wouldn't have thrown those punches first. I would know that I'm not in my country. If it had been the US, it's different, guys. That's another thing we've been trying to tell you. You're no longer at home.
Right.
You're no longer at home. Okay. Yeah, it's Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
All right, be just set, Bruce.
So there's in a case like that, you both still could be in trouble, but more than likely at this point that's what you actually have.
Right. Now, this may seem odd to the regular viewers. This may seem odd to what I'm about to say. If Mark Thornton threw that punch at me, first off, he'll probably hit because I'm really passive. I'm really very passive.
That is true.
I was a martial arts instructor for Kung Fu and Taekwondo in the U.S. Now, that doesn't mean I'm an aggressive type person. I'm very passive. However, the moment he does, trust me, I will wail on him. Just saying. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter what country it is. It's usually whoever throws the first punch loses.
Well, here's the thing also. If I was Mark, and I don't know if he did, I don't think he did. He didn't mention in his video. I myself, whether I threw the first punch or not, probably still would have filed something, at least some sort of incident report.
Well, that's another thing. Well, luckily, I say luckily. First off, this is an expat on expat issue. Honestly, that kind of somewhat neutralizes the situation. What I'm saying, if an expat hits a Philippine national,
Then it would have been all over.
that's pretty much done for. And I mean, is there bias in the system? Technically, yes. Even in the U.S., if I were in the U.S. and beat up a guy who's an American national and I'm not, it's very likely I would lose and get deported. You know what I'm saying?
There's a very good chance on
So
that.
basically, what I'm saying, not necessarily involved in this situation, but if you're an expat, don't pick a fight with a Filipino. First off, never pick up a fight. Period. But with a regular national, doesn't matter what country you're
I
in.
had to think about
Yeah,
that.
if you're in Brazil, don't pick a fight with a Brazilian. Get it? You just don't do that. You're the immigrant.
Yeah, isn't that the name of the guy we interviewed? And that his exact channel? It's not. It's not him, but
No, no,
isn't
no,
that
no.
the name? Okay, so it's
Okay.
just a.
So yeah, but now it's an expat situation. Now it makes it somewhat. Now the Filipinos are going to set a step back and analyze the situation and go from there. Which there is video footage of the situation. There's CCTV footage. It is out there. It's not publicly released because
Many have said they have seen it.
Right.
It's, you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. Also, I see Black Grandpa is in the house. So, anyways, the guy made a comment about, is there anything new? It's like he's probably been up in a couple of these rooms with these different videos and everything. The biggest thing we want to go through is our comments, what we've been seeing on the internet. And the biggest thing is our personal YouTube manager said he could lose his channel. We didn't drop a name, we dropped the incident. And they said that he's posted that video talking about what he's done. It is still a form of breaking guidelines on both monetization and the channel.
Yeah.
So they said that it does and it can. Now, whether they
Yeah.
would do it or not, the second part is there's a few others calling for the embassy to be contacted, as we're to understand the embassy has also been contacted by other people. Like I said, most of the stuff we're seeing out there right now is a lot of hate for Mark Thornton, like flat out, like the channels are saying their piece, like, he's an idiot, he's this, he's that. And I think him posting the video might be a little,
Extreme.
extreme. Okay. But I'm not going to sit there with my own personal feelings and go into like picking on him. So it's
No, it's not about that.
yeah. So we're going to go ahead and bring Bruce in. What is up, Bruce?
A sec. He's in the green room.
He's in the green room.
Hey, Bruce.
Hi,
Hey,
Bruce.
how you
What
guys
is
doing?
going? What is going on?
I'm just, I've seen a lot of people, and there's a lot of like good, there's bad comments. Excuse me. After watching Mike, listening to you guys, there's all sorts of stories, and
Yes.
it's like, but the guy admitted on his live, and
That's where I'm at on that one.
what defense do you got? You assaulted the guy.
Yeah, I've listened to it again because I'm one of those that do get semi emotion. I get kind of tied up in my feelings and stuff. And it's like, let me listen to that again. So you kind of go back, and we took a short from it because he does allow short samplings of his content. Okay. Now, whether he realizes people can or not, currently it's on. We did go against our we didn't go against our better judgment. We decided not to put that clip on for people because I'm sure everybody in the room has seen it. And again, he said that he punched him in the face, and I was in a fist fight, and that's what drew our manager back. Without dropping a name, she goes, he put that on his. It's like, yeah, that is part of the guideline when there's that sort of thing going on. No matter how much he was heckled and all that, it also affects his channel, his wife, a possibility of being deported after everything he's been through. But it just really takes you back that as me as a female expat, sometimes I just like, I'm kind of glad I'm like that minority party at this point. And I just kind of sit back and it's like you're watching a cat fight at a bar, you know, and you're like, oh, look at that go, you know, and I just kind of sit back and watch these guys because it's like really amazing. But he's put a lot on the line, and no matter what, like when we had MYK in here, he said the truth. I'm just going to sit around and watch. I'm going to see what's going to happen. It's kind of like, you do, and people do like the drama. A lot of them are for Mark Thornton, against Mark Thornton. They're for the Dumaguete. They're for the drama here. It could be because they're in retirement, but it's still at the end of the day, no matter how much and what is said, because some of the, like I said, there's a bunch of channels, smaller channels covering it too. Like they're putting out videos, but you do notice it's their personal opinion. Like they flat, not like Mike, not like us and some neutral parties. There are some that just like, he's so nasty and he's this, and they just don't like Mark for whatever reason. He didn't interview them, wouldn't loan him money. Who knows? He wouldn't do things with them. They thought they would get here and they would do that stuff, but he admitted it. He came forward and told, if you watch the video, I think it's 40 minutes. And then I think it was the last 5-10 minutes. He described that he pummeled the guy. He couldn't fight. And he went into these full details. And I'm like, no, like Bart Simpson. I said, that is so legal. So it's like, I don't know. But if you didn't hear me say, we offered him to come on here and he immediately declined. And he said it kind of like George said, wow, that was kind of blunt there. And I said, yeah, I get it. One, he's not going to gain anything on his side for coming on. And if he was trying to cover it up, you better put that popcorn away, monkey boy.
Sorry.
Oh, you got that popcorn. I was just.
I'm gonna have to get your coffee, get your popcorn. We're selling popcorn for $50. Right. Hey George, I can get that jet.
Hey, but I do respect you guys. I want you to know that I appreciate your honesty. Like I've asked questions, you guys have answered. Other people have answered too. I do respect you guys, and I think you guys are doing it the right way. And it doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter what you feel.
Nope.
The fact of the matter is, you know what just upsets me the most is that you're an American. I'm American. You're American, Heidi. You're over there.
Yeah.
People like myself, when we want to go over there, we don't want to go over there to cause trouble, man. You know, like it's disrespectful. The Philippine people have treated. They're kind people. They're the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Except for George.
And this is the crap that these, you know, like I said, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. I'm not gonna say what my opinion is. It's just wrong. You disrespected the Philippines.
Yeah. No, and it is. And you, the point that kept coming through my head, and I heard on a whole different matter, is some guy was coming over here and he has a bigger channel, and he said he had to pause and think because he left the US to get away from that drama. You always hear the red pill, blue pill, expat or passport brothers and everybody getting away from this and the women and the drama. And then they get here and the same women are here and drama's here. The same guys are over here causing drama, except for it's worse. They sit around all day making plans, or it's just like, what the heck? And they're trying to like reboot. Like I mentioned on the other channel, we do Island Reboot. I'm trying to reboot my life and do me. You have to do you when you get here. And evidently, I think about, he said that Critter Hunter, he was attacking Critter Hunter by saying that he was just sitting around in the daytime playing chess. And I'm like, what's that got to, if Critter Hunter has time and he wants to play chess, what did that have with the entire story? So it's so he's playing chess in the middle of the day and went on about his business. And it's the whole thing is it came down to somebody but hurt him and he was offended and things were going back and forth. And I get being pushed a line because, like I said, there was an incident. I don't know if you was around about a year ago when I had a thing with Brian, Philly in the Philippines. And he put some stuff up about me and my wheelchair, money stolen. He used our photo, but he didn't say our names, which a lot of channels are using our information, but they never throw our name out there, which is fine. And it kind of went on. And at one point, I kept talking about his wife's channel. And I slipped up and said a few things. I'm not going to repeat them because look, we've met up, we've had food together. We like Brian. We still like Brian. George has met up with him since then. And I just went too far in what I said. I said that I was going to have a confrontation. And I guess she thought and got upset and scared that I was going to attack her. So then he put on my photo and said, this big woman is threatening my wife. And it kind of got out of control. And he was doing it just as much. In the end, lawyers were involved. He literally went and got an attorney. And I thought it was going to be dropped. And then he came back a month or two later. And then he was ready to file it. And I'm like, George, I said, I don't have time for this. I'm not going to have this drama drag on. And I said, but the biggest thing is I took full responsibility, apologized immediately, and said, this is, I never said really anything that was harsh except for that. There was going to be confrontation. But she was hurt. And I don't want to hurt nobody. So I apologized, still do, face the music, face the camera, and made a public apology to them, everybody, and we settled up with the lawyers. But it cost us money and time and heartache and a friend because we don't hear much from him anymore. And I'm like, I don't want that. I would think that Mark would take that video down and apologize by public before anything happens. If he gets where these other channels don't like him and are making statements that they don't, and you got another one giving out embassy numbers and they're rallying around, it's going to be like Frankenstein and them hunting him down soon. And he's got a baby due anytime. It's just where it is.
I mean,
No. That's right.
George and Heidi, I know that we've all heard, guys going over there, they get these women pregnant and leave. Okay, like it's a fun
It
vacation.
does happen.
That's that, you know what I mean? And why can't people think? I mean, I'm not the most intelligent guy, but I'll tell you something. When it comes to thinking about what you're doing and where you're at, you wanted to go there and retire with your girlfriend or wife now, and now you have a kid.
Right.
And you might have just blew that.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I think that was the last thing because when we came, of course, George lived here before, he's a citizen, but when he returned back and we've been here for 3 years, we had watched Mark. There's only so many channels on here. They weren't the only ones, but over in that area, there's only so many expats that were actually doing things during the pandemic. And I remember listening to some of their stories and everything, and Mark was totally broke down according to his own stories when he got there. Like they all lived, him and Gio and old dog all lived in these apartments. They used to interview each other constantly. 3 years ago, they all had channels that were under 17,000, 18,000 subscribers, and they were all kind of piggybacking on each other's stuff. As I'm to understand, none of the 3 channels talk to each other anymore.
No, and actually, not related to the subject, just so you guys know that Mark Thornton and them are not the OG crew. The OG crew is pretty much there was a generation before them here.
Yeah, there was
on YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of them actually think there were the originators and everything, but no, I get that, and he didn't expect to have a baby either. So he's got a baby now, and I couldn't see that. Even if she wasn't there, we don't know if she was there or not, and we don't know exactly about her being at home or whatever. That's just what would have been on my mind. And there was a question about, isn't he a father or something about him being a father? It's like, yeah, he's got adult children. So that part I couldn't see. The only time I would have done that is, like I said, if I was cornered. Okay. If I was cornered and somebody did that, we always say, like, if you get a bunch of those kids around you and they get too close, they bump you, they could steal some coins from you, then that's when you kind of push them off or whatever. If somebody's there to steal your wallet, blah, 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 just give it up and walk away, carry a dummy wallet, that kind of thing. But only if you really have, that's where I'm at on the defending. As much as I talk about opening up a can of whoop ass, it just doesn't happen. Excuse me, Mr. Green Room. You could just go away. We don't want none of that today.
And just so you guys know, again, from a fighter
You can bring him
stance,
on, babe.
no, I know, but on a fighter point of view, okay. Again, I've been in a ton of scraps, and
Yeah, with
no,
me
no, no,
this
no.
week.
I'm like I said, I was a martial arts instructor, kung fu and taekwondo. But on a fighter's views point of stance, and any fighter in the room will tell you this: you do not swing the first punch unless you've agreed. It's kind of like
Or
you
married.
guys ever watch, Mortal Kombat or I mean, play Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Before the fight, they stand on each corner and said, "Fight."
Hey, babe, do it. Ready? Fight.
Reality is, again, most honorable fights, even the real street fights, unless it's a riot, they literally go like this, and then
They step back.
say go, and then they fight.
He
They
admitted he
swing-
sucker punched him
Correct,
in the nose.
correct.
George says, "Did he just say that?" I
So
said,
that's
yeah.
first off, that's as a fighter, that kind of disqualifies you because that's dishonorable. It's kind of one of those. In a real street fight, meaning if you're being mugged, that's different. You
Yeah.
can just hit them in the jewels or everything. But in a
Hey, Sarah.
man-to-man fight or a duel, as
Ruby.
it were, remember the duels also where they pull out those one-shot pistols, the flintlocks?
Yeah.
Oh, come on,
Right.
George.
They stand. Point being is when somebody says, "Let's go outside," that means it's an honorable invitation. Hey, we're gonna
Talking
fight.
Hollywood again, George. Talking
Correct.
Hollywood with the fake bullets and
Right. So, point being, again, I've seen a lot of real fights, real street fights too, and most of the time, even at that point, they go literally. That's the funny thing. They usually go shoulder to shoulder. So weird. And then
What statement is that coming from? 1 second
oh,
there.
he's talking about MT.
Oh,
So point being is, I wouldn't brag. I sucker punch a guy. Would never in my life would I ever do that. You know what I'm saying? Now,
go out on your video, on your channel and do that. And like Heidi said, like now it's not just about losing possible channel. It's about losing yourself, getting kicked out of here.
Correct.
and we confirmed that with our manager yesterday without throwing a name. We flat out mentioned, because she asked us, did we want more viewers or money? How she was going to direct our channel. And we've had
Which I think was odd.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You know what I thought about? If we would have said we wanted more money, actually, I asked her for an advance. She laughed.
No.
But I did. I said,
did.
can you give me
She
about
said-
a 3-year advance
Yeah,
on our
she
money?
did, and she laughed. But anyway,
And
was
so it's about the same. The advice she gave us was about the same. And I said, well, that we've had where they've taken some monetization away because I mentioned something about my grandfather used the word Polak, which probably get hit on this one. And somehow they went and cut something out of our stream and brought down the revenue. And we got an email from them. Now, if so many of them come through or it comes through YouTube, then they could hit us. So we were discussing that. And then thought I would throw that scenario out there. And I mentioned what happens if somebody said in public here in the Philippines, admitted to a fight and this and that. And I gave the scenario and she said they would lose their channel. She says they do manual reviews, a lot of them now. They do watch the channels. And oh yeah, I forgot about the side chat. And at that point, that kind of shed a different light because 1 or 2 people said to me late last night, it was funny. They said, Heidi, George, and they were like, hey, could he lose his channel also? And I said, we're going to do a live stream on it. So between that and thinking about, his wife and, the side things he would have to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Irregular guy. You're not Scotty. Yeah, he's actually Scotty Boy is signed up for our channel, so we know irregular guys, not you. So yeah, somebody said further up, they said that they knew that it was Mark Thornton because he was thin skinned and everything.
Yeah.
So
all right, somebody's in our green room right now.
So I'm
I
gonna
don't know. Should
jump.
we let this guy in?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding with you, Mike. MYK Mike in the house,
Mike's
guys.
in the house.
All right, just a sec. All right, MYK Mike, great guy, great channel. Check him out. Here he is.
Yeah,
Right.
he's okay.
What's up,
He's
guys?
okay.
Hey,
Hey,
bros.
I tell you what,
Hey,
he's
what's up,
better
Mike?
looking and smells better than he sounds.
He's talking about Miyagi, though.
You know,
I know.
I have
No, I'm talking about him. I'm talking about Mike.
compensate. I have to compensate with my ugly looks. So
No, actually, what I'm saying is your looks and your smell is better than your.
Who's taller, you or Mike?
I think Mike.
I think Mike.
I think we were
yeah, I think
standing
Mike,
together.
yeah.
I'm bigger
I
than
think
Mike, of course.
Mike's taller. I think.
Hey, Mike, I'm down 30 pounds.
good for you.
Yeah,
Good
so
for you.
Hey,
been
congratulations.
doing
Do
really
you guys
well.
mind if I? Do you guys mind if I wave at somebody?
Do what?
You guys mind if I do a shout out?
No.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Andy Perrick, what's up? Where's my lawsuit?
Oh, dang.
See, we don't even know, and that's another thing which we don't mind. A lot of people have blamed because we know Mike personally that we would know them and what goes on in every room. And then if somebody doesn't like one channel and the other channel and Sunshine Shoulders, I'm really neutral, man. I love you every which way up to Sunday. So
Hey,
and until you actually touch my man or cross me, then it's on like Donkey Kong.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But I just wanted to like. This is the thing. I think this is like the fun part about this whole thing as well. Like
And it's
just-
entertainment. We always said that.
yeah. What just for entertainment. Well, Auntie, where'd you go, buddy? Did you disappear? You were talking so much in the chat.
Where did you go?
Where'd you go, Auntie? But here's the thing, right? Has anybody even focused to the part of this? Like, I'm gonna make a video about it actually, but has anybody focused for the part that if the accusations that they're giving each other about this Dexter guy, that means they tolerate a guy who likes certain women at a younger age.
Right.
They all know each other. They all hang out with each other. And for just because that one moment that they have a problem with each other,
Right. Which
that's
puts
all of a sudden they blow up. But they're willing
it puts a light on it too. It puts a
So,
light on all
it-
of that.
Exactly. It goes far worse than all of this hitting each other. Mark is stupid to put a video out that this
That's
happened.
up
He
for
that-
us.
that's like he gave the cops the case,
Mhm.
right?
You.
That's where that is. But the really thing that I have here is the part that they, I'm not saying that it's true that that's what Dexter's about, but they're all giving out all the information. Justin was not lying about the 170. Justin wasn't lying about the things in that said email about Steven and about Charlene. But the thing with all of it is that you're tolerating a guy that means you're complacent with it. It means you're part of this whole thing of networks of guys doing this. I'm not, that's just me.
Right. So they were okay with things until something went south. Also, something I told George, and I've been listening to you, he's actually putting everything out there to light, and people are watching. Big Brother is watching.
Right.
And that's why I questioned our YouTube manager. I was like, by the way, if somebody would put up that they beat somebody up and this and that, and they're tied up in this and that, she's like, oh yeah, we could just manually go through and see that he admitted to that and feel it's a crime, and his channel is gone. That came from our manager yesterday. And I didn't drop a name. I'm being quite honest, but I gave the scenario, and she was quick because we were talking about how I said something that appeared racial because my grandfather's Polish, and we used to use the word Polak in the house and all that. And somebody got offended, and we had to go through and cut that out of the video just to save the video, right? Yeah. So I gave the scenario. I was like, oh, yeah, this is a chance for me to bring this up, and I did without dropping name. Secondly, he was talking about him having a bucket of money to pay off something for Justin's business. I didn't catch all of that, but he admitted that the guy gave him money for a business. He brought cash. So that means there's possibly something a little shadier going on, which you can't do business like that here in the Philippines. So he just put more information out there on the guy. So it's just like, whether it's true, not true, it's still going to put an investigation on the whole group of them and an eye on Dumaguete even more.
Yeah,
Right.
there's tax evasion. If somebody wants to jump into this whole thing, the next thing that you have to ask is that you're investing in businesses. You're not supposed to be, opening up businesses. So then you can look into Justin's business, and if you look into Justin's business, was that money deposited for that company? Is there a paper trail that shows that there's an agreement, there's an investment thing? And if that's the case also, then Justin has to also then notify the government, the Philippine government, that he received said cash, given to him. Okay. So you have that. There's so many different things that's going to be kind of in this whole thing that adds up. That's why I was like saying this is this is the first domino that could be flicked that's going to cause a ripple effect down the road for a lot of these guys. And sometimes it's the petty things that gets the thieves caught. And unfortunately, this petty thing is just something that people can look into. And because there's people that's invested like me and everyone else, there's gonna be people that's gonna be maybe
This is
doing
Snow White
additional
Heidi
reports.
broadcast, man.
Like it's perfect.
Real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
Remind me, and it may be just because I heard it rumor through rumor. When that typhoon happened and a bunch of vloggers got in trouble for collecting a bunch of money for items and they got reported, I thought I heard some of those guys over there was part of that.
Yeah, a lot of them
Yeah.
did. And here's the thing, right? Because you have to be able to ask for money. You have to be registered. Either you actually have a registered company,
Right, like
and
we do.
there's several steps. You have to get registered. There's 3 steps to get yourself registered.
Yeah,
A lot of them just probably got letters of cease and desist, which is what I've seen. They got cease
right.
and desist letters to stop what they're doing.
Yeah, because a lot
One
of them were, as I'm to understand, allegedly Tim K and his wife were one of the big collectors of funds. You
yeah, and
cannot collect funds. You're not even really supposed to hand out money to the homeless because even that to a small level can get you in trouble. Now, do they get people? No. But when you collect money to put tents and food out, no matter how much you're helping, you can, without getting something from the department on the
DSWD.
side, DSWD, you can get in trouble. But some of them, as I'm to understand, that other big vlogger, the Ahern family or something, they did put a bunch of stuff on them and they had to go get the proper permits allegedly. And they slowed down the funds that they had. But I know Justin was one of them. I know he did a lot of work during that time. But you also have to watch on the level of putting that out there all the time. Like he put the whole thing on camera. Like me and George, half the stuff we do out of our own YouTube money, and we, put it right back into the cats and all that. But we don't put all of that on air but we're using our money. We don't say, hey, we collected a bunch of money and this is the
Food
tents
from
we're
our
handing.
pantry.
This is tents we're handing out. So I knew there were some issues, but something like what's going on in Dumaguete definitely has brought him into light by everybody now. And now we just seen where Andy Omar is trying to get people collectively to actually go in and report him to the embassy, which I'm sure they've already done that.
there's
So,
people out there, especially the fact that Mark claims to be, I guess, one of the representatives of the area for the agency, I guess, and all. I
oh
mean,
yes.
for the embassy. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Now,
he had the shirt on like Paul did, and they were
yeah.
walking around that day. Yes.
Now, to be fair, you can give money to the homeless. That's not illegal. You can't give money to beggars. That's a too big difference in there. You have to be clear about it. It's called the anti-mendicancy law. That was put in together by the
There's a
first
So there
Marcos.
is, okay. For me, I wouldn't
There's a
know
difference,
the
yes.
difference.
For
So
instance, we don't give it to beggars. We give it to
Yeah,
yeah.
if you see somebody who's homeless in the streets and you approach them and you say, "Hey, listen," but they're not begging. But if they're
correct.
begging, if they're there, hands out, alms out, and
Okay.
stuff
Right.
like that,
All right. So yeah, that makes sense.
that is what is against the law. And the reason for that is to go up against syndicates that actually have people going out there begging. They pass around this kid, this baby from one woman to another, taking different shifts. So that's pretty much the main law in regards for that. But the thing though is what people don't understand is, especially as foreigners, we're not supposed to get into those fundraising events, even though, let's say, for example, people are being helped. I get it. I understand it. That's amazing. If you have a good heart and you literally give all the money, that's good. I appreciate that. But still, you're violating the law
Yeah.
because there's rules in place. And what they, like what they all say, right? They pretty much say is, what's the term that they use in Latin where, jury, if you just because you don't understand or know the law, it doesn't excuse anything. Like
Right. Just pretty
juris
much
non
that ignorance of the
excusa, something like
law
that.
does not make it sure.
Yeah.
And I think about it because that's, I was telling George about people adjusting to the Philippines. I'm still adjusting, but there are things that you have to learn. And yeah, if I mess up, it's going to be on me 100%. Like I said, I learned my lesson last year. You knew about that.
Mhm.
I'm wondering why he still hasn't just totally manned up and did something. But if you didn't hear, we actually asked him to join this live. We've talked to him before on Messenger, and
Mhm.
it was an immediate no. And it just wasn't a thank you for asking. No, it was a very blunt no.
Now, in his defense, anybody again dealing with a legal matter, they have the right to say no, yes or no.
Yeah.
What I'm
Sorry,
saying
not
is-
interested.
What I'm
was
saying
the
is
word.
silence doesn't necessarily mean guilt, nor I'm just saying to be fair.
Well,
to be fair to him, yes.
And honestly, I'll just be honest. It's not in his best interest at this point. He would just do another live stream for his own numbers. I get it. A lot of these guys,
Well, that's
people
that's the
don't
other side, too.
realize
Yeah, there's
is
the
that
YouTube side and
he's been very clear
legal
that he
side.
only interviews men. He tends to interview only certain type of men. Once he was
Seems like he's
confronted
got a
about that,
script
he brought in some Filipinos. Then he brought in, but we get that he doesn't do, but he flat out because he knows this is mostly it's
Yeah.
American
Yeah.
expat woman. Yeah, you
So I
can.
gotta
Yeah,
jump
and
off.
yeah,
You guys, I
Brewmeister
gotta
again.
jump
Thank you
off.
for the popcorn
Sorry to
fund.
interrupt. I appreciate you guys letting me come on. Mike, it's good to see you. It's great to see you,
Bruce.
Heidi and George. Keep up the good
Oh,
work, Heidi.
thanks. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it, man.
I do want to know, Mike, is there going to be any stocks over there for $14 and some change that maybe I could invest in?
Stocks?
Listen, I'm
The
just.
love boat.
I'm joking because obviously if
Oh, I thought you said about investing.
No, not the cruise ship, the
Oh.
woman.
I was
But
jumping
no,
the gun there.
if I've got $14, actually I got 170, but I was
Bruce.
thinking
Hey,
$14.
you
savings.
go ahead and
Bruce.
invest in some Jollibee, man. It's
yeah.
a little bit in the
Hey, Bruce,
downturn
for
right now, but it'll go
$5,
back
I'll
up.
roll you.
Oh,
Right. It's a.
okay.
I'll give you a teddy bear hug.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, George.
Hey, you and Mike can make a Heidi sandwich, a Snow White sandwich.
Jesus Christ.
$170.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
not allowed. I'm
What you
not
talking
allowed to
about?
do that anymore.
I'll put you up for $2 and they can make a sandwich out of you, a Georgie cookie.
Yeah, you would. You'd sell me for Jollibee.
I'll give you 200
Not
pesos.
really.
Chicken
George.
jerky.
200 pesos, I give you. All right, thanks you guys. Thanks, Mike. Thanks everybody in the chat.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks for
Bruce.
dropping in,
Appreciate it.
Bruce.
Later, Bruce.
All right, we have
Yeah.
another guest on the stage in the green room, Philippines and beyond.
Philippines and beyond. What is
You
up?
there, bud?
Yo,
What is up?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
what's up? Yeah, how's the wifey, man?
Wifey's doing good, man.
That's
Everything's
awesome.
cool here, but
That is awesome.
it's interesting, all the stuff that's going on here. A couple of things to clear up since I'm here, and I don't really hang out with these cats. I don't hang out with no vloggers. One thing I want to make clear here: all my friends, close friends, are all non-vloggers.
There you go.
Vloggers, yeah, most of the people I hang out with, and I only have really maybe a half dozen good friends that I hang out with, and these are dive buddies, guys that I dive with on a regular basis. Everybody else is just an acquaintance. I could be at a coffee shop. I might talk with you for a few minutes. I might not even, I might see you, say hello, and do something else, So the thing about Justin, Justin's business is on the up and up, because here you start a business here in Dumaguete, especially a dive shop. You got to get barangay clearance. You've got to get all kinds of clearances because, you're dealing with people's lives here. They're going to be diving at your resort. So you got to get all these permits. You got to get a lot of stuff here.
Oh yeah.
His wife helps run the business, so he actually doesn't have to be there. It's a pretty much, this business is a well-oiled machine type of business where he's got foreigners that are dive instructors that run the classes. He's got his wife running the shop. He's got other guys that are running independent. He's got independent contractors that work for him to take people out on dives. For example, when we go dive at his resort, technically we can go dive by ourselves, but we take a dive master with us because it's very inexpensive, between all of us to share a dive master. You know what I mean? We get the air through him, stuff like that. So he actually does not have to be at his dive shop because it pretty much runs, and his wife runs it, and it runs by itself. I mean, he's got to be there in the beginning to get everybody going. And then once everybody gets going, boom, he doesn't actually have to be there. So for Thornton to make a comment like, your dive shop must not be profitable, or what are you doing here? I kind of laughed when I heard that,
Right.
Basically, in order to run any business, anyone that knows about running a business is, it's how well you can manage the people to run your business, because there's no way Justin can run that whole operation by himself.
Well, and he can't run it on his own anyways. Foreigners, unless it's a certain investment and licensing, he couldn't do it on his own anyways, correct, Mike? He
What
would
do you mean?
need, it requires a Filipino business
Well, it
partner.
depends what
No,
kind of visa
the
Justin
Filipino
is
can be
on.
what we call an absent person. She doesn't have to be there. She can be like considered an investor, and he can
Right.
run it as a foreigner because he's part
Right,
of the
he
part of the
can't. I know
organization.
that, but that
Um,
would require all kinds of permits and work permits and all the proper documents and everything.
I mean, you're gonna
And it
get that when you
depends what
start
kind of
when you
visa
start
he's
a
on.
company, anyways. And I
Right.
pointed that out
Yeah.
that what Mark said was the dumbest thing I've heard as well. Just like what
No,
was being said was because the thing though is if you start a business, just like anybody, like I've started businesses before, like you have a successful business if you can actually step out from the business and hire the right people to run your business.
Well,
Because
yes,
that's a
agree.
true business. Because
Right,
if you're
we
still
agree.
working full time for your own business, you're just an employee of a business that has your name.
No, that's true. Yes. Yep.
So
Yeah, so it was kind of silly for him to make that statement. That's why I said he said something about him being there in the daytime playing chess, and I'm like, it
yeah, that just
kinda
means he
Yeah,
doesn't know
and-
anything about business.
Right.
That
Another
right
thing
there
I
just
wanna
proves he has no
clarify.
clue about business.
Right.
Sorry about cutting you guys off, but one more
Oh,
thing
no
I want to clarify that you guys said earlier. When you're in the Philippines, when you're buying, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, one more thing I want to clarify, and I didn't mean to cut you guys off. Sorry about that. When you said earlier that, when you're dealing with a lot of cash, there's stuff that comes up. In the Philippines, you deal with cash only here. So when you're buying a business, or when you're coming in to pay a lease on a business, or you're buying a piece of land, like we bought a piece of land, we came in with all cash at the closing. You know what I mean? You can come in with a manager's check. And some people accept that. Filipinos get kind of goofy about checks. They want to see cash. So nothing wrong with coming in with, say, a couple million pesos or $1.5 million, whatever the cash is to pay for this business or to pay for this land. That's how things are done here. So the Philippine government is not going to look at you kind of goofy like, oh, what's this cash? It's done every day, all day long, cash, cash, cash. When I went to buy my car, I came in with 1.3 million in cash. Now, I didn't come in with the actual cash. I transferred it to the Toyota dealership through a special account, from my bank, but it's cash is cash, you know what I mean? So they don't really question that, especially if you're a foreigner, because, they know you got that kind of cash, or generally do. So cash is king here, just remember that, guys.
Yeah.
It's really funny. One thing about Thornton, and look, I got nothing against Thornton, but nobody likes this guy. I think he's gonna have to leave Duma. A lot of people, like, from my understanding, Old Dog doesn't like him. Jules in the Philippines had a falling out with him. It seems to me
Right.
that the guy, and if you look at some of his live streams, and I don't really follow this guy, but once in a while I'll listen to some of the nonsense he says on his live stream, is that he hates people that are doing better than him. He's got that, for some reason, it kind of eats him up or whatever, and he's making a lot of mistakes here. And I've told that to some of his friends. about, for example, and I'll give you a bunch of examples. Buying a car on credit, worst thing you can do. That's really stupid. He actually had, from my understanding, a guy that put up the down payment for him. Okay. So again, buying a car on credit, real dumb. Renting that apartment that he has for $600, whatever it is, a month, where you can get a place just as nice for $400, and you
I
can
was
get that extra
wondering
200, and you can put it in your wife's account. You know what I mean? To put the money in her pocket instead of putting into a landlord's pocket.
Right.
Understand what I'm saying? So again,
Yeah,
there's
he's
just a
he's
lot
still
of
living
things-
in that compound, isn't he?
I think he is, but this just
Right.
a waste of money. Why would I want to pay $600 a month?
To live in a compound that's attached to other places.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the place.
That's really hard.
Yeah,
But then
That is
that,
really
that,
high.
that shows that does he really trust his wife?
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, but see, you got to understand these people. I mean, I've there's been a couple of times I walked in, I'm sitting at ground zero, and I've been to ground zero. I'll be sitting there. Justin comes up, he'll start talking to me. We're having coffee, whatever. Thornton would sit right, literally next to me. I wouldn't even say hello, and I don't say nothing, you know. So he's got that arrogance, like he's some kind of like a movie star. So we all kind of look at him like,
That's what I
dude,
heard.
you got to be kidding me, man. And
Yeah,
everybody knows I don't do interviews. I just don't. I just don't do interviews. So he knows, you know, he didn't even bother asking. I don't do interviews, you know? And I just kind of laugh. Why would I want to do an interview on your channel? Because I don't give a shit about getting subscribers, none of that. I just don't care, you know? Now, look, I know you're going to have a lot of people fighting here. There's a lot of vloggers here for views and this and that. Every time you see a lot of expats, you're going to see problems. Now, you guys heard about that one Navy SEAL that beat up 4 expats. You heard about that, right?
I didn't know.
Oh,
he was a
yeah.
Navy- I didn't
What
know he
was
was
that,
a
about
Navy
a year?
SEAL, but
Yeah,
I
about
heard
a year
about that.
ago or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of 4 guys, and one of the guys had a gun, and he still beat the shit out of these guys.
Yeah, they had
Yeah, I
photos
mean,
of
it
that
was-
and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, and that case is still ongoing. So, in that, one of the expats, the one that's been here for over 10 years, that's married to a PNP, he's selling his shit to get out of town. He's going to have to leave. He may have to do some jail time. I mean, these guys literally went to this guy's Navy SEAL's house to confront him, 4 of them. I mean, this guy beat the shit out of all 4. I mean, if you saw the video, I saw the video of these guys in jail with bandages
Really?
all over their face. The Navy SEALs on the other side just laughing at these guys. You guys want some more? And they had the jail door open in case these guys said anything. They had the jail door open so that the
Yeah,
Navy SEALs
some
could go in and
years
beat the
ago.
shit.
Well, see, what a lot of guys don't understand in the Philippines, like when people get arrested, they're still getting beat up in the prison by the family members sometimes, and the cops are beating them as well. Like people don't understand. They let you get whooped. They let you get smacked and whooped while you're arrested in the Philippines.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I stay away from jails, but yeah. Again, you know, you're not at home. You know, this isn't like Home Sweet Home, or this is a different atmosphere. You're gonna get these type of nonsense going on when you see a lot of influx of expats, you know, in one
Right.
area, and we're already making plans to maybe not live here all year round. We're looking at some other areas to live at part of the year. So
Yeah.
again, as more and more expats start moving in this area, we already are looking at like, hey, I don't think this is where we want to be. I just bought a piece of land here, and it's up for sale. You know what I mean? I bought it like 6 months ago, and I'm gonna put it up for sale. And you know, we're gonna kind of move on here. So, but again, so Thornton, I'm surprised he's not already in jail, because technically, you would think that the guy Dexter. I saw Dexter 2 days later at that with that meeting with the embassy. The embassy came, man. Dude, I've never seen so many expats in a place in my life.
That's what I told George. I said, damn, look at all those old dudes.
Shit. There was. I just came in to ask a couple of questions, nothing important. I'm like, no, I'm not standing in line to do this. There was about 400 expats. I mean,
There was. Did you see that, Mike?
No, I don't.
Did you-
bother.
oh yeah,
I just
because
wanna-
there was
I just
only a
wanna-
few of them that released the video, and like I said, all that comes up in our feed because of the circle of people. And I told George was upstairs cleaning the cat boxes, and I was doing something else. I came in and I said, "Holy crap!" I said, "Look at all these people!" And I mean, I said, it's like packed there. It was insane.
Well, maybe they're probably lining up, hoping to get the government assistance
Well,
to
they-
get back to the states.
Yeah, they're registering them kids, man. Hey,
Hey,
they're
but I
registering
saw.
their kids.
Yeah, they're registering kids. There's all different kinds of services. I think even Social Security was here, all that.
They're
But I saw that Dexter dude. I saw Dexter, man. He had a big old fucking black eye. I'm looking. Because this is way before, I didn't even know what happened. You know, this is a couple of days after the fight. I guess the video came
Yeah,
out
it was like they
after
said it was
that.
like 2 days after or something.
Dude, I saw that black guy. I was gonna go up to him and say, "Hey, I don't know the guy. I've seen him around at the resort. You know, when I go diving, I'll see him talking to Justin. He's one of the investors, I think, in the boat that they bought or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that black guy. Like, what the hell hit you? And I almost went up to him and asked him, "Hey, man, what Mack truck hit you?" But then I got sidetracked. Somebody came talking to me. The next thing, the guy was gone, and we ended up leaving. And then I saw the video. It's like, holy shit. I mean, these dudes are going at it. Again, I don't know Dexter. I don't know if he's disabled.
Well, can you
I
guys clarify? Sorry to interrupt there. Let me clarify because there's a lot of comments on our channel and through the last live.
Ouch.
To clarify, Dexter is not disabled in any means. They were talking about Paul, or not Paul, but that Mark had an issue that day at the embassy meeting or something with somebody else that was disabled. It's two different things, right? Does anybody know anything about Dexter himself?
People show me. I've seen a video of Dexter a few weeks ago, like 2 videos now, right, where they introduced him in Justin's channel and stuff like that. The guy's actually pretty, thin,
Right.
walking fine. I didn't see no disability, so everyone's always just whining and saying, "Oh, he hit a disabled person." No, just because
No,
old
I
doesn't
think it
mean
was
disabled. Okay,
I
so
think there was something else. So I guess that day or the day of the embassy meeting, as I'm to gather for people, and I answered one or two. I said I think it's confused that he's okay, whether he has a hidden illness. I said, but I think they're talking about Mark had some sort of incident with somebody in the stall of a bathroom or something, or
I don't know
something to
about
do
that. I
with
never heard.
something.
Is
I don't
there
have
something
it
like a
all,
glory hole
but it
going on
is a
over there, or
separate
something like
incident.
that?
Okay, so he doesn't
I
look.
don't know.
He
You know,
was looking to spread his love.
it's interesting, guys. I would say one of the things that we have, Americans have a bad name in Dumaguete. I'm going to have to tell you guys right straight up here. Americans have a really bad name in Dumaguete. All the other foreigners don't like Americans because Americans are always popping off at people here. Now, I'm from the U.S. I mean, I just kind of laugh. But again, I just got a message. Listen to this one. Here's a good example. I got my property online. Guy from Behold an American, looks like. He wants to have somebody else come out and look at the property, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want no agent for my property, blah, blah. And he's acting like an asshole already. I'm like, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again,
For the most part, I just do me and try to immerse myself in the culture or stay away. There's only so many people we actually call friend for good reasons, because I think in some of the bigger cities where the expats hang out, and that's even if they talk to you. I went through that whole thing that they either ignore you when you say hi to them in the mall, or probably for good reasons for me, but it's it just seems like there's always something going on. So it's like it's just something always going on. So
I would
have a
say
sausage fest. I mean,
I would
Dumaguete is a
say
sausage fest.
60% of the expats you see out here, especially Americans, have some form of mental issue. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I strongly
Don't
believe
we all?
that. Yeah, no, I'm serious.
No comment.
Borderline.
No comment.
Bite me, Mike.
Mike might say 90%. You can bump up that number. I'm just trying to be nice.
They don't call
Mike.
me Snow White Heidi for nothing. I'm bipolar as hell and proud of it.
Well,
I'm about ready
I mean,
to make
hey,
a shirt.
That's what I see. Hey, I mean, I'll give you another example. I went to look at
But
a
I'm
property
alive
about
here.
2 years ago. Listen to this one. An expat. He's still here, and he's fighting with another guy now. He's showing me his property. When I decided, nah, this is not for me, he's tried to start a fight with me. And he's holding his 1-year-old baby in his hand, in his arms. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Are you crazy? What's wrong with
Christmas
you, man?
2024.
Yeah, I mean, it's
The Mark
crazy
T.
stuff.
Human Shield.
Right there it is, human shield.
Oh my God.
Yeah, crazy.
But that's the thing. It's just like, I mean, without talking about mental health and stuff like that for a lot of these guys, because
It's
I
a
try not to
real
talk about mental health when it needs to be fully diagnosed. But at the same time, it's just like your experience that you see a lot of guys with mental health issues. What a lot of guys don't understand is you can get kicked out of the Philippines if you do have mental health issues.
Yes.
Yeah, but that would mean there would be no foreigners here at all.
No, that's not true. There's going to be lots of foreigners that's going to be coming
I
in.
truly believe from personal experience and from other people, everybody's got something, whether it
No,
is bipolar anxiety, depression, short
I
periods of time.
completely agree. The thing here's the biggest problem in the Philippines, right? Is that there's people who are able to be controlled through medications, which is perfectly fine,
I was going to say, if they're medicated, sure.
right? It's perfectly fine.
And proper
There's also a
therapy,
lot
yeah.
of other people who are not going to be able to be controlled by the medication, and they still come. So you're actually going to see the true self. You're actually going to see the symptoms and that's happening with them, manic episodes and all those kind of
Yeah.
things, or physical outbursts and stuff like that. You are going to see that, and so and the biggest problem in the Philippines is mental health is actually almost just like the machismo attitude or mental health, just like in America, where it's not talked about. In the Philippines, mental health is something that's still put under the table. For example, if you get admitted to a mental health floor in the Philippines, it's in the basement.
Oh, jeez.
That's where they have it. St. Luke's is in the basement.
Oh, wow. So
Okay, you
old
have-
school, like the 50s in the U.S., where they either had the
Exactly.
full.
So
Wow.
it's still a tricky subject. Not a lot of people are finding this help, and it's hard to find a good person to assist you. It's already hard as it is in the United States of America. It's even harder in the Philippines. And unfortunately, you will see there are a lot of mental health issues, especially within the veterans, and it's just something that's seen just because of what they've experienced, if they've actually experienced certain things, which is sad. And so the Philippines is one of the worst places to be at if you have mental health issues, because it's a lot harder to get help. And there's a lot of medications that are not allowed in the Philippines.
Right. Not available. That is true.
So that's also going to be problematic. And in the Philippines, they still believe that if you're gonna go up against mental health issues, they give you the good stuff. And when I say the good stuff, they're gonna pop Xanax on you. They're gonna pop Quaaludes on you. They're gonna pop the ones to really fry your brain. They're not gonna give you non-habit forming antipsychotics. They're not gonna give you like a Zoloft. That's not even the first thing, which you should go for a Zoloft. But they're hitting you with Ativan. They're hitting you with Xanax. They're hitting you with the stuff to just shut you the F up. Which in time, with a lot of these guys, if they mix it with alcohol, it's over. And in the Philippines, alcohol is king.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's why there's literally
it's cheap and plenty and brown, like the ladies.
Yeah, everywhere you go, there's going to be somebody serving alcohol at 9 o'clock in the morning,
and beautiful and sweet.
And that's their unfortunate. Alcohol is their choice of, if they're having depression, if they're having whatever. That literally is what they do in the Philippines. It's drinking is a game in the Philippines, and so a lot of people don't understand that. And so people can get kicked out of the Philippines if you have, because that's one of the top 5 things that they say you can't come into the Philippines with, because the Philippines says we don't want to have to deal with that.
I had to stuff mine in my pocket when I came in.
Whatever you have to do. But that's the unfortunate problem. And in Dumaguete, what you see there is a sausage fest. And when you have a sausage fest going on, people are going to try to say,
Mike,
I'm better than you. I'm bigger than you. I'm whiter than you. I have a bigger pension than you, to try to fight for the
sounds
very
better
minimum.
Coming out of Mike's mouth than my mouth.
To fight for the bare minimum of women that are being, I would say, put in boats into Dumaguete, because most of these girls, like I said in the past, most of the girls that are dating these foreign men are not from Dumaguete.
Correct. They're not from Dumaguete.
Because the Dumaguete girls, they're going to be like, I don't want to have the shame, because you're going to be associated in your family. Your friends are going to be like, oh, you're one of those guys.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting you brought that up, and here's how it works here. Most of the guys that move here, like myself, my wife's from another island. Okay, so they're gonna bring a could be from Leyte, could be Davao. They're all generally all their women are from other islands because they want to move here because they don't want to live close to their spouse's family or whatever the reason is. Okay. Now the women that are here in Dumaguete, believe it or not, what happens is some of these expats will come here, right? And they become chick boys. The minute you become a chick boy, and Dumaguete's not that big of a town, maybe 150,000 people, girls won't touch you. So I got buddies now that are chick boys. They broke up with their girls. They got to get girls from outside Dumaguete to come here to date them. So that's how it works now. So actually, you got some nice women here, but the minute you get a certain rep, they won't even touch you because it could be somebody's cousin. You might have been that cousin or her sister or whatever. They all know each other for whatever reason.
You haven't seen the Facebook groups?
Say that again.
What?
There's Facebook groups, and these Filipinas be sharing who not to date in the areas.
Well, hey, Mike, I don't know. I know you watch some of our comments. We read your comments. That's what we do. Somebody said, and I'm not like, I've never been to Ground Zero. They said that only middle-class Filipinos go there, that it is not an expat hangout, and that Filipinas do not go there looking for expats.
Ground Zero is actually, it's got really good food. It's a little, not totally upscale, but definitely your average Filipino cannot afford to go to Ground Zero. So you're going to have mostly expats, Phil-Am couples going there, or upper class Filipinos eating there. Now I think there's a gaming thing upstairs, and there's also, I think, a call center that's on the third floor or something like that, that works out of that. But it's, there are other nice coffee shops that are probably that can be busier than Ground Zero. But Ground Zero actually, it's more than a coffee shop. It's kind of like a restaurant too. You know what I mean? So it's got food where the average coffee shop like Bo's Coffee is a place a lot of people go, or Tom Tom's. That's just generally pastries and coffee and stuff like that. So there are other places to go besides Ground Zero.
The fun places, I'm sure you see it also, is it's not what happens in the inside, it's what happens in the outside. Like typically you see the Filipino hunters, they'll be in the outside. They can't go in yet. They have to be asked to come. So you'll see them in Bo's Coffee. The Bo's Coffee is the best place to put Filipinas in the outside.
Yeah, they're more apt to go. Yeah, they're more. A Filipino is more apt. If she wants to meet a foreigner to go to a place like Bo's Coffee or Tom Tom's, she's not going to go to Ground Zero. No, that's not. She
has to be invited in there. That'll be like date number
one. Gentlemen, this will be interesting. Somebody that looks like they're standing behind a jail cell, which looks like that one guy that got locked up a while back for fighting all the time and drinking. But somebody's got the name Dexter on his. Do we let him in the room there, Mike?
It's up to you guys. It's your channel. But I've been getting a lot of messages saying that someone's in jail now.
Huh. Dexter, we're gonna bring you in to see what you have to say. Like I said, see what's really going on.
I've had literally 5 comments already in my video saying that someone's in jail. Huh. I don't want to say who, but I'm just saying people. I said show proof because I'm not going to do that.
Well, it's not Mr. Thornton because I contacted him. We've had contact through Facebook, like at holidays, we'd say something. He responded within a few minutes, but he could have his phone. Who knows? He declined pretty quick, so maybe, who knows? But he actually declined, and I could see for good reasons. I don't think he's worried about giving out too much information. I've heard different things about why he wouldn't appear, but we had to at least invite him or Justin to join or anybody else. But he's I have to say he's more classier than coming in. Not Mark, but I was talking about Justin and them. So the silent majority.
Let's find out if it's Dexter or not.
Here's Dexter, guys. Dexter, are you there?
Oh, good Lord. I thought it was a video.
No, that's a troll. That's not Dexter.
Yo.
That's a troll.
I didn't hear what he said.
It's a troll.
It's a troll. That's not Dexter.
Jerry the Fairy and Bedpan Mike.
Oh, that's somebody that don't like us, Mike. That's somebody that's probably broke, sitting in his daughter's basement somewhere.
No, and we said, somebody just came in our room and said, they come through and said they were going to expose us. And I said, go ahead. I wish you would.
Nothing to expose.
Yeah.
But,
Anything that I've actually, I mean, come on.
yeah, and we're not
Yeah,
quick to judge, guys. Again, troll or not,
You know what?
people are people, and what I'm saying is, we don't usually kick people unless you actually verify that that's what your intent is. You can be a troll and be
Yeah, it's
be
okay.
respectful still. Okay.
Yeah, there's like a level. So, you know, or you know, the troll things that we get, like somebody came through and offered George a divorce lawyer yesterday and told him to leave. And I'm like, yeah, and you gonna come here and suck on him too? Come on.
You know what?
The answer's
It's going to
no.
be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm surprised Thornton's not in jail because you would think at least they'd put him in jail to see if Dexter is going to file charges. So obviously Dexter did not file any charges yet. So don't know. But here's one thing I did a while back. I talked to a lawyer. We were a friend of mine. He's a Filipino lawyer, a real nice guy. He goes back and forth between the states. He's really cool. And we were laughing about something. And he's a real estate lawyer. And we were talking about how foreigners sue foreigners. And he was laughing. I go, "You guys love them kind of cases, don't you?" He goes, "Yeah." Because we just keep it dragging and we just keep milking these guys. That's literally basically what the guy told. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. They're going to milk you as much as they can, and they're going to keep it going for as much as they can. Now, my understanding is whoever files with the prosecutor, he's not going to get much money out of his pocket, but the defendant is going to have to put a lot of money out of his pocket every time just to take the case.
Somebody's going to pay a lot of money.
60 to 80K just to take the case. And then you got costs, court costs, all this every time you go. I mean, that's how they beat you here. So
and it's still not going to be cheap. So it could break Mark Thornton in the end because, like I said, as I'm to understand, he pretty much had nothing just 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and so it's I know it is because, like I said, I keep mentioning my own incident a year ago, and it still put us out a few $100s in just a few months. And, you know, I'm like, I told George, I said, I'm not going to spend the next 3 years going to court over something that may or may not prosecute on something little. But in a case where he flat out admitted it, he's going to be tied up and spend a lot of money that could have went towards his baby and getting out of that compound or something, you know? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, he might want to just settle out of court somehow. I don't know.
He might want to try to apologize. You know, somebody just mentioned something that made a lot of sense. Somebody said that for 17 years in Japan, or 17 years in Japan, 8 years as a Muslim, you can avoid conflict by just being mean. That's what I was snickering at. Hell yeah, I'm going to stand with an attitude. Why do you think half the people don't talk to me? They might stare at me for a while, but it's like I get that. Because when I was in Egypt there for like a few months, people have this stern look on their face constantly. You don't really want to ask, but they're the nicest people in the world. You know that. But yeah, I mean, stand stern and nobody's going to, you know, but yeah, and me and George was talking this morning because we've seen a lot of comments. They still are asking us what we would actually consider doing. Or like if something happened to George or me, and I was just like, well, if that was me and Mark Thornton going, you know, like I was putting the scenario in my head and everything. Did you mute him?
No.
Okay, yeah.
There's something going on this side. Yeah.
Gotcha. That first off, he probably wouldn't have bragged about getting into a fight with a female. That's of course first off or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. It's, I mentioned the sad part about this.
I just want the enjoyment of happiness of watching it. Here's my thing. It's like if you put it out there, you better accept the fact. Like there's people complaining like, "Oh, why are you talking about this? You're making it worse." It's not my fault. He put it out there. It's like, you know, it's like just that's his fault. It's like, you know, I'm more thinking here's my thing. If it's something of a secret, you keep it, you don't share with people, then someone digs it out of the ground and then exposes it. I think that's wrong. But you know what? He puts it out there. It's all fair game, in my opinion, you know? That's just my thing. But anyways, guys, I'm going to head out here. I'm going to go have myself some dinner.
All right.
What? We appreciate you dropping
Thanks so
in
much,
there,
Mike. Appreciate you.
Later, people.
Thank you.
Bye,
So that was quite interesting. We do have Hair, yeah, no, he's actually outright making fun of and that's just outright. I'm sorry, we're not going to keep certain people in there, but yeah, I wish somebody would expose me. You're just gonna bring me numbers, whatever you try to expose, because I'm gonna ride it all the way. George knows the tree says,
All right.
yes, please do. So
Dirty Paul Mogil says Ground Zero is a great place for coffee and a free black eye. I like that. I like that. All right.
You turn me right, ground
Real.
pound, ground pound.
There you go.
Ground zero, right, round, round.
There you go. Regular guy says couldn't handle the great Tim Case smell, so I ran away. He drank too much and always touched me.
Well, we know that's not regular guy, of course. It's funny. It's a funny comment.
Oh
for,
dang!
the
Dirty Paul
regular guy.
Mogil says Mark will be cleaning the Sierra Critter Republic soon.
Probably.
Basically saying he's gonna get owned.
And guys, I want to reiterate when I talked about the guy talking about bringing in cash and all that. Still understand that you cannot, without the proper papers and a great investment, you cannot be the full owner to a business here in the Philippines. That's what I was discussing. And admitting you're coming in with a cash transaction to pay for something inside of Ground Zero, that's what I was discussing, because he did mention something about cash is king, and I think he was putting a reference back to that situation. What we're saying is even to be a vlogger here, whether you're here long term or short term, like let's say you're coming in here to live the rest of your life and you guys have filed for an SRRV and you're a vlogger, and even if you have your taxes set to the US, if you're vlogging in the Philippines and living here long term, then your taxes would be due here in the Philippines. You're supposed to be an independent contractor. You're still a certain type of vlogger. So there's a lot of things. So that would kind of be like your work permit in one situation, and then that puts you into working here. So a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these vloggers are operating on a whole different level of a situation. And then, as we were talking about,
Right.
him, I'm just saying I wouldn't have brought that guy's business forward like that on there. Also, he also admitted he was bringing money in to pay whatever he was paying towards Critter Hunter, and I've heard all kinds of stuff. But I would agree on that about you delegate your businesses off to most of the other people. I mean, I think a lot of the business owners like George, he worked with his people and still delegated, and it's okay. So I was just telling George that he had all kinds of dive instructors, so it wouldn't have been him that had been sitting there all day anyway.
No, he's more of the face.
He's the face, the owner, and he does a lot of great underwater videos and everything else. So
yeah, it's kind of like Papa John's Pizza. Papa John rarely shows up in the pizza parlor, if that makes any sense.
Honestly, if you'll know that I'm losing weight, and in like 2 months I've lost probably closer to 30 pounds. I've still got 4 or 5 days to be at the 2-month period. I told George I would like to attempt diving when I get healthier and stuff. And I guess that would be somewhere to actually start, would be, somebody that we've seen, and, he's, seems like a pretty cool place.
Yeah.
So that would be where we would go out to see. So I definitely, would like to see Critter Hunter Republic. That would be pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I'd like to dive someday. So that'd be sweet. Could you guys see that?
Right. Now, Just Fact says, let's get Cameron Livestream approval when he goes to court. Now, the problem with that is, again, personally, we're too far from that area. No, really, it's far. We have to fly a plane to get there.
Yeah, I mean, if I went to the diving place, we'd have to go out there. For
and then from the airplane,
2 weeks.
I believe it's like a 2-hour drive or 1.5 hours, depending on what route you take. But
we could fly directly into Dumaguete. There is an airport there.
Now, here's the thing, and again, a lot of people ignore this fact that a lot of YouTubers aren't actually licensed. We are licensed. We do have a certificate. We do have our paperwork. We even have ID cards. The only thing we're missing, for instance, in this instance, is even though we have legitimate papers, business license, everything like that, even IDs, we still need to get an actual physical permit from the courthouse. But point being is, that's all we need at this point. But the vloggers there, they don't. But then they can bypass all of that. It's all about favoritism anyway, and whoever you pay the right money to anyway.
Deviates in the house. He
Hey,
said
Deviate, how you
hello
doing?
further down, and definitely to our members. If you guys haven't subscribed or done a thumbs up, we appreciate it on that.
Yeah. Mike Haney says, good morning in the Philippines. Dumaguete is a real drama island. That's what Old Dog told him. That's what he says. Curtis Walton says hi. Just Fact says he'll be a fish out of water if he moves out. Well,
And for those of you, real quick, him stating that, just to reiterate what's going on, Mark, by dropping that video admitting that he has hit this guy, regardless of he was being heckled or long term or defending himself, he flat out said that he asked him to step out. He knew that it would be a fight. He put his video, it's still there. I'm surprised it's still there. He knows other people are making statements about it. And he's trying to show what his side of the story was. But no matter at the end of the day, entertainment or not, or us repeating it, because we've been called gossipers probably about 300 times in the last 48 hours, and we just laugh. All we are is the new CNN. You know, that's what YouTube and vloggers that put out information now. We're quicker than the news channels. Anything that comes out, we'll see it in the actual press feed, and it takes 3 days for the newspapers here to put something out. And you guys are hearing about stuff in other countries about a week or two down the road. And some of the stuff is really slow. The YouTubers, the TikTokers, the Facebookers, you can look for anything within a half hour here, like the landslide. I found footage within a half hour of the incident. People record it and go right home and find internet the closest and upload it. So it's what people do, and it's what we do. Yes, it's entertainment. Yes, it's actually news. Yes, it's more of a teaching moment. It's to actually, the biggest thing to take away from this is so many guys and women, but this is like 98% guys are coming here and they're getting into this. They scrap over women, they scrap over money. I told George when Mike said all of that, he sounded so sophisticated and looked so handsome. When it come out of his mouth, the things I've been trying to say forever is these guys come here with some sort of, you know, it's like a look at me, I've got money, and look at my new young woman, and look at this and that, and it's like some sort of to me it's high school, not even middle school. It's just like high school boys that get their new cars, and it's like they're getting their second wind in their life, and they're just like going at each other, and the vlogging has made it worse. And those that live in that area, and then you just start hearing everything. So what has happened is Mark Thornton, like I said, punched the guy, and he's admitted it. Oh, you know, he admitted, and now it's playing over and over again. We invited him here. He declined us right away, so we know he's not in jail. He could be. He could be sitting there, maybe. But the newest thing that we have is our manager, without dropping his name, and we will clearly say that she said he could lose his channel. They do go through channels. Okay, they're aware of channels that are putting out this type of sexual content, talking that, this, that, things that promote some sort of violence or whatever. She says they go through that type of stuff. And if they manually come across that channel where he's talking about a crime like that, which is a crime in the Philippines, you don't hit somebody, and that they could, without strikes, take this channel. I mean, she was very blunt about that. So one person asked us, and I said, oh my God, can you believe this? It was like 10 o'clock last night. I said, they actually said that. And I said, well, maybe we should do a live stream and just discuss that, what's on the line for him. We do have at the top of the live stream, we do have the actual live stream pin. If somebody wants to come in and constructively talk about what's going on, not the guy coming in to say he didn't like Mike or don't like the other guy. We don't care. We love everybody. We could have Sunshine. If Sunshine's in the house, we let him in to talk. You know, who's in there, we'll let him in if they're going to come in. You know, I mean, there's a few people that we can, I could probably, you know, only state 2 or 3 channels that we just wouldn't have on because they're what I would call willy-nilly and they flow with the wind. In other words, 1 minute they're with one side, 1 minute they're with this, and 1 minute they're with that. So there's just are things that, you know, they're just coming on to promote their channel. I get it. But we usually have good guests that come on. We have good people on our channel. And we would like to hear from you guys if there's anything that you know about that Dumaguete area group, if you've been to Ground Zero, maybe how you feel about what happens or what you guys would do. I mean, comment, because I would like to know. I know George put it back to me. What would happen if, let's say, another woman did that to me? All right, first off, if it was a Filipino, unless my life was on the line, because I had to put all scenarios in, I would just walk away, because another Filipino, no matter what, if I yell back, hey, you nasty, dirty, blah, 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 they could go to the wrong guy, file something, and words could get you in trouble. Now I'm gonna let you know they rarely prosecute defamation cases. There's thousands. They prosecute probably 5 a year. It's not a whole lot. It takes a lot and a lot of money to process that. Walk away from a fight with a Filipino. Walk away if they're yelling names at you, unless your life is on the line. If it's another female expat and if it's another male expat and they'd have punched me in the face, I'd have probably walked away on the first punch. Just depends. It just depends if if I felt like you were on the line. Okay, it'd have been on like Donkey Kong. But I see George like, you really would have. No, but my point is with an expat, I wouldn't have started the fight. Like I literally would not walk up over words and do something, because we get it a lot where guys, we get it where people send us stuff constantly saying things about me, saying things about George, saying things. And we've been hearing it for years. So nobody's hurting my feelings. And we actually have an idea where some of these people are. Do I go over there and do things? And, after we've heard all this crap for years, the answer is no. So you have to actually walk away.
Yeah. Now this is unconfirmed. This has been brought up a few times on and outside the live. The house Mark rents is for sale. Mark will have to leave. Landlord is not charging Mark rent until house is sold. Mark spot. Now we have heard about this. However, it is unconfirmed. So that's one of those things that doesn't necessarily mean that you hear it a lot, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's false either. Roy Estrada says Tim K used his wife to pocket money intended for typhoon casualties.
They did say that. We know they both at that time had separate channels, and she did. I remember Chrissy K seeing it with my own eyes. I'm not sure what happened to the money, who filed. We heard papers went filed on them too. I seen her on the bed, and she was sitting in a hotel room. Remember, I showed you the footage, and she was legitly seemed her heart was pouring out. She was asking for funds, yes, for the typhoon victims, and on 2 different live streams and videos, they both were asking for money, not together.
They did collect money again. Same thing. Doesn't necessarily mean that they did pocket the money. We're not saying that.
We're just saying we know they did ask.
They did get donations, correct?
And so did the Ahern family. There was all kinds of stuff. The Ahern said they had to get papers. It's another family that I don't hear much from anymore, that the Ahern family had, in order to release the tents to people, had to get additional documents. And
yeah, we have a Macklemore fan here.
Yes.
I know the attorney who represented Mark on his third bankruptcy in Kentucky, Louisville. Mark refused to pay him and fled to the Philippines.
Curtis says he doesn't do interviews either. Yeah.
Huh. Thad says Jerry formerly first appeared on Keel, Our Life in the Philippines channel in the Oh. Huh. So now he's over there, I guess.
Yeah. Mark's car is what? I missed that statement. Mark's car is financed for 8 years.
Oh, that car.
Yeah, that's kind of that is something you don't want to do here, guys. When you finance like that, that means you're in financial problems. So,
well,
I would suggest the thing, if you have money, kind of like buying a house, you buy it, and then if you have great credit, you refinance it for the lowest interest. If not, remember what I told you, the best thing that the rich people do is if they want the money back to reinvest in another car or something else, you actually pay for it, and then you get a loan on that and use that money towards something else. There's kind of a way the rich people get ahead that only have so money.
The thing is, here in the Philippines, when you finance a car, as a rule of thumb, I'm not saying it's exactly that, it's just a rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is for every 2 years, you pay double that amount. So that means 8 years. If that is true, as he's paying 4 times the amount of the actual car value.
Further down, George Isa. George is 92. So that's someone making fun of you. George Isa. George is a Odio, which looks like he's calling you something else with a P. Going to get exposed. Okay, so all you did was come in on another. He came in on my name the first time. What you going to expose? Nothing. You guys act like someone's going to come around on a 6,000 something channel and somebody's going to care anything you say about us. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing.
Now, cold ass honky. I'm not gonna put up your remark only because, but I'll read it anyway.
Which is really like
The baby isn't
childish.
Mark's, it's William's baby, and that's why he fled to this island. And now, also, this is also unconfirmed too. It's something that has been going around on the internet.
Gonna get
Again, it's one of those things that we don't have the fact.
Believe me,
we don't
George's
have the
life is
facts.
boring. It's mine you want.
Yeah.
Jeez. What, that I was on the Sally Jesse Raphael show, that I actually knew celebrities, that I dated a celebrity, that my boyfriend before George owned a football team in Canada, and the guy was like 74. What you going to expose that I ain't already given out? What, that I got depression because of me being sick all the time and I have my own issues? What are you going to expose that I won't throw myself under the bus for and laugh all the way? What? Nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna put this up only because it's hilarious.
Oh my god.
Okay. Nansen Full says the baby's daddy's Calvin Roach. Calvin, if you're watching, we all know this is a joke. It's just funny. It's just.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate Calvin's get up. You know what Calvin said? Calvin said that every day is Valentine's Day. Let's deviate. I say we let him.
Is that really deviate?
Yeah.
No. Okay, deviate. You change your name, and I'm just making sure if it's you or not.
If not, we'll throw him out of the room.
And he's out. He's out and about. All right, deviate. Deviate.
What is going on?
Good. How you doing? Hi. How you doing, George? Nice to finally meet you guys.
Check it out. Another good-looking guy.
There you go.
I knew there's some good-looking guys.
How is everything? I'm just out here walking the dog. I got my dog Rambo.
Oh, hey Rambo. Oh, he's a good-looking dog. What's up? Got any gossip for us, or what's going on in your neck of the woods? You seen Sharon Lapu over there anywhere?
Thank you. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. I don't have the gossip, but you know what? I'm out here in Lapu. I have been learning, that cheese mess out here is very, very real. You know what I mean? A lot of people like to just cheese mess a lot and everything. And, the thing I can say is just, do your own thing. Forget about what people say. We're in a beautiful country. We all left where we're from to be out here and have fun and enjoy life. You know what I mean? So I just appreciate you guys always keeping it real and, giving everyone the truth and not sugarcoating anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. And all these people doing cheese mess and everything. It's kind of like clout chasing in a way is what I feel. You know what I mean?
I think it is. I'm kind of like on the border, like with Mike, where he says, he wants to know what's going on. But for us, there's a lot to be learned from this. And it evidently, one video is sprouting out to another 100 people that the story just keeps going further and further. And we want people to know, just don't punch the guy and walk away if you can situation, that you guys will go to jail. Definitely stay away from Filipinos.
Yes.
You're right. Chismis is a real thing. With the Filipinos, I told George, there's times, you've seen us at each other here. Well, if we're at each other and the doors are open, when I go outside to feed the cats and I'm dropping the cat food, it's like, they're like 5 people looking at me and I'm like, hey, yeah. And they're like, that's her, so it's like a real thing when it comes to chismis. It's like Mexico was the same thing. And it's like Ohio, when we were kids and everybody used to leave their front doors open. Everybody used to gossip back then like a bunch of hens. The women that stayed home and watched the soap operas, like my mom, they were always chismissing, man. So it's the same here. It kind of goes back by 20 years, but it's a real thing, And it's
it is. And you know what? Thank God, I have to say I'm blessed. I'm married. I have a 10-month-old daughter, and we're expecting our second kid. Me and my wife, we met online, and I got married online as well. And I just got my 13A visa, and I'm learning that there's so much beauty out here in the Philippines, and for some reason, Dumaguete seems to be Dramagetti, and I don't know what the deal is, but it's just like I don't know why it seems to be like that. It's just like all these expats at each other's throat. At each other's throats. And it's just like, it's kind of a shame, you know, because
It is
definitely,
a
I think
shame.
if you just are good to your neighbors, what's up, bro? If you're good to your neighbors and just kind of like, you know, good to people in general, you'll be fine out here. There's no reason for the drama or the fights. I've been here for like 7-8 months, and I have had nothing but kind people, and you know, me and my wife, we started a couple businesses, and we have had nothing but just good people and help all around. So I don't know, these people that I believe are getting into a lot of the drama probably have been doing
Right.
that before they came here. You know what I mean? Before they came to the
Right. They're
Philippines,
bringing
and it's
that
just a
drama. We
continuation
don't.
of what they've been doing for God knows how long.
That is true. So you would probably agree with what we said. Remember, like when I first started talking a couple years ago, I always said that I pretty much stay away from most expats. We only call so many people friend like we would back home, you know? But people need to come here and
Right.
like immerse themselves in the culture, get to know the people. You came to retire and to be with your family, immerse in her family, his family. And it's like, I don't know how many times people are like, oh, would you hang out with these American expats there? And they think that we all just sit up here and party all the time. It's not true. You actually, you know, you want to get to know some of the language, which I'm slowly doing, and just, and if anything, just do you, even if I got to stare at George all day, you know? Yeah.
And you know
You're
what? And you and George are a great couple, and I always enjoy watching you guys.
Yeah, he's walking around, so his
internet's cutting in
signals
out.
cuts off.
And
That's
the stuff that you try to give people is good advice, and everything you highlight is kind of to let people know, like, hey, don't be a victim, don't do this, you know what I mean? Like, so you're always on the positive, and I appreciate that. I wish more
Well,
YouTubers
you
were
know,
like you.
sometimes. Yeah, and you know, I think that's why we have like such a hard sell, because I'm like somebody's auntie or mom, and when people see me, that's what they see, and they're like, you know, when somebody's trying to do something wrong, they don't want to hear that, man. They know what they up to.
I know it.
Yeah.
But you know
So
what?
it's like,
I love to learn from people like you. I love to learn, and that's why I watch you guys. You know, I've seen a bunch of other, you know, YouTubers. I'm not going to say any names, but I just feel they're real negative, or they just highlight negative things. You know, where you try to educate. So you know, I keep
we
that up.
try
You know, I
to.
just wanted to say hello on that.
We don't put any of that on unless we think there's some sort of side bit. I mean, like you said, it's fun. At the end of the day, we watch stuff from all the different channels, from everything, but we don't like hate nobody, or we're not going to sit up there and, you know, it's just a bunch of stuff. But we appreciate you dropping in, man, and good luck with those babies.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Hook
much.
up soon. Keep in touch, Deviate.
I will. You guys have a great day. Thank you. Talk later.
Thank you so much,
Too.
Deviate.
Bye. God bless.
All right, that's Deviate, guys. Alex living abroad says, I grew up Asian American. Mental health was not acknowledged at all.
That is true. Yes. That is something that's a real thing. And like I said, I have not tried to hide that I have. Okay. If you guys have been watching us from the beginning, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, since the beginning, I talked about that. That is one thing you're not going to get a lot of help with here. Certain medications, mental health system, the medical system. You have to bring medications. And I have, ever since a little girl, suffered from anxiety. And I've had my own issues of depression in the past, but I have certain medications that I take, and I do other things to deal with that. I'm not like out roaming the street, or you don't have to lock me down in the bottom basement situation. But there are some people that dump all medications, forget who they are, and they take those problems from there and they bring them over here. It's not a good situation, which will bring us probably to another video that'll cover that again, because you can't get all medications here. And a lot of these women and men stop medications for serious health issues. There's a lot of people that were in the wars that were on medication for PSTD. There are people that, you know, are high anxiety, that are, what's the other word, schizophrenic. We can't even begin to tell you. But here's the thing: if all that shows up on your medical exams and all that, you're liable to be declined for certain visas, and other things can happen. But he's right. But I think everybody's got some condition one way or the other. There are some people that, they have the PSTD. I don't think this is for
PTSD.
war. Yeah, I always get that backwards. Like, some people can't even get out of the house situation. So it's something that's not going to change when you guys move to another country. That is for sure.
Right, right.
So yeah.
And JR, thank you so much for your support.
JR,
Focus on
Focus
Asia.
in Asia. Good guy.
Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, Prozac. I was like,
Prozac,
hey
yeah.
babe, I was like Tetris, man. I was like Ron L. Hubbard, huh? Is that really somebody say Mark got L. Ron Hubbard hat when he what? I can't see.
When he died.
Oh.
Yeah, when it's highlighted, read over there. Kicking the Philippines to quote Bob Marley.
What's up?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I was expecting. There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that movie finally come out, but I know they got it on that one channel. So
now,
it'll be a good
Michael
movie.
Haney, thank you so much for your support. Again, play nice if that's possible. Again, and the thing is, again, be aware that one, I'm clean, and so is Heidi, and two,
nobody's backyard is
before we left the
clean, but
Philippines, we had to re-enter the U.S. What that means is, if anybody had an open case, which again we don't, they would have gotten us when we entered the U.S.
And you can also be gotten when you enter the Philippines.
Correct. The hardest part we had was, again, we re-entered the Philippines during the pandemic, and Singapore gave us a hard time because of the test, and because it wasn't even unwarranted. They gave us a hard time because we were there at 3:00 p.m. And you have 24 hours for the test to expire, but the test expires at 5:45 p.m. and they're like, this is almost expired. I'm like,
it's a 24-hour test. Yeah. So
Yeah,
they
but
started to give us a hard time.
they gave us a
on
hard
that,
time over
but-
the test because of the pandemic, but nothing else. You know what I mean?
But yeah, we have a slew of trolls, which means we've made it to the top. We've had them when we were in the 300-400s, and people just, like I said, I remind them of an ant that's too loud, people that they don't like. It just means they've got issues in their own life, and some of them are vloggers, and we're aware who they are, and it really doesn't matter. It's go ahead and get George a divorce lawyer. It might be George that gets divorced.
Right. And Curse Walden says, now this is true. My brother-in-law has mental issues. They are not fried with drugs like in the U.S. It means that doesn't necessarily mean you have mental health issues, that you're a pill popper or you're out of control. It doesn't mean that. Okay. It depends on how your severity level and how you handle it. And there's severe cases that act and behave like normal people.
Yeah, Jim's in
Hey
the
Jim,
house.
how you doing? This is Jim Allner.
What is going on, Jim?
Jim, you there?
Can you hear us? We can see your scenery there. Can you hear us?
Oh, Adrian. Mitch Brommel says spent 1 week in Angel City in Philippines and didn't talk to one vlogger. Unless you count Adrian. Adrian is the guy who sits
Yes,
in
I can hear you fine.
Gotcha.
Oh, hey Jim. Yeah, and he sells promised to buy a few t-shirts. I did quite a few, but did not approach the vloggers.
Yeah, Adrian does the t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody's not for somebody. Some people don't like Critter Hunter. Some people don't like us. Some people don't like Mark. Some people like Mark. Some people don't like Calvin Roach. And it's to be expected. And we know right now for a fact that there are like 20 channels that everybody that's in here right now watches. And we can't expect everybody to like our topics and all that. And we've accepted it. We are aware that some channels will push, hey, don't watch that, don't do this, don't do that. We were just saying yesterday that do you guys, if that's the amount of money you have, only you would know when to come to the Philippines, only you would know what you can spend, and don't let anybody tell you. And we've said that probably 100 times in the last 6 months. We reiterated it last night, and then it looks like another vlogger covered it this morning. So they have their listening ears on, and I get that. And so it happens. And as we've always said, you guys would just want to do you and everything for the most part. We're just here for you guys to see us, how we're living. We try to answer the questions based on what people have told us, what we've seen. George being a Filipino, me being a female expat. There's a lot that we've actually seen. And we have been here 3 years during the pandemic and after the pandemic. George was born and raised here. His brother's a doctor and the family's here. I've still got family in the US. He's got family and kids back in the US. So we've got like this experience all over the place. And we're just your regular people at around 2,000 US dollars a month, just living an everyday life. We call it on a budget. And that, that's why we started the second channel too, is Island Reboot Philippines. So be sure to check that out too. That's just me rebooting, dieting, changing my eating habits. Make George.
All right. Dr. B says avoid violence and rudeness. Yes. Again,
if you can, it'll get you in trouble here. It's probably one of the first few lessons I learned.
James Marshall says, is every man the king of Dumaguete, right?
That's the funny thing. I told George the really funny, weird thing is these guys see some of these guys that are under 150,000 subscribers as that they've been here forever. And they've been here 6 years. I think the oldest one I know of is like Old Dog's been here now 5-6 years. But some of them been in and out of the Philippines for a while, but they're not the original vloggers. The biggest vloggers are all Filipino. Next come in line are a bunch of other foreigners, but they're not the American vloggers. And there's a ton of vloggers over there with bigger numbers than theirs. It's just because they put it in their feed. Like they'll put Old Dog in the feed if you guys watch us. They'll put Filipina P. It's just the ones that you guys are used to. But some people like live by the books of all these vloggers, and they're getting all this different, like confusing information and different ways of life and all that. And we just always say, take it with a grain of salt. It is entertainment at the end of the day. It's kind of like flipping on cable. You're just getting the same situation. It's kind of,
Right. And now also understand that, again, I was an immigrant in the U.S. for 27 years, over 27 years.
You were?
But what I'm getting at is,
you got the best of both worlds, man.
As an immigrant, whenever I see a fellow man, a fellow countryman, you're the most natural reaction. So, for example, again, if you're American, when you see an American here, you have that natural instinct, like say, hey, maybe I should say hi. Again, that's fine. You can say hi and stuff. However, when the moment you say hi, take note of the approach. And what I'm getting at is you'll find ones that think they're better than you. And I don't mean to be rude, but there's a lot of them that when they're outside their country, for some strange reason, they think they're better than you. And I stay away from those people right away. I don't even, I'll, literally, okay, stay away from that guy. But when they're warm-hearted, welcome you with open arms. And again, like for instance, Heidi, let's say she's in the Philippines, even in the live, they would say, hey, I'm from Ohio, because you're trying to create a bond, you're trying to create a rapport. The moment an expat gives you like somewhat of a negative pushback, I mean, you can feel it. They don't even have to say a word. They just have to look at you or not look at you at all. Avoid them. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to do
don't
same thing.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with expats going to gravitate towards Dumaguete. Nothing wrong with that.
No,
just be careful with the people you associate with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And like I told one of my friends, actually Scott. Scott says, I don't think I want to live in Dumaguete. I said, no, it's fine. You don't have to. You can live near it, so you can have, for example, here in Angeles, there's an IMAX theater, whereas further down in Porac, there's none. So
there's different areas.
Right, there's different areas. So
I think the guys just go there because they want
live
to live
near the area, not necessarily in the area.
Yeah,
and that's what I said.
People should be able to live where they actually want. It is still open for people to join and come in and talk about the Mark Thornton situation, what you guys would have done, any additional information. The floor is still open. The invitation is stuck at the top. We had Jim in there, but it looks like it got cut out. Yes, Sarah, you're still in the house. Yeah, I don't know who the George was, but here's the thing I'm going to tell you. It's the same person. We've received several emails the last week or two, and we've been receiving them from the same person, making the same comments from the same emails and location for about a year and a half. So there's always going to be a few trolls, but I always often wonder, what do they think that we're actually going to say? What was that?
Well, no, they said actually, I'm gonna put this up only because we do have a YouTube manager for 2 years, 3 years. Now he says 6K subs and no views. Actually, incorrect. Even our YouTube manager stated you guys actually have a very good ratio. We
Yeah,
have a
so
healthy
evidently
ratio.
you don't know what ratios are for YouTube. We've said it a million times over
Okay.
and over and over again.
Glitch.
There you go. It's kind of hard saying why it did.
That's weird. It glitched. It. Huh. Check your system. Just a sec, guys. We're having a technical thing.
Hit new comments, George.
Oh, there. Well, that's.
Yeah, it came back.
Oh, it
so-
came back. Okay, no, there
Yeah.
was a YouTube glitch. All the comments disappeared
Well,
for
it wasn't
some weird
YouTube, that's
reason.
StreamYard. Mine were still here.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know what they actually think's going to happen because we're not Mark Thornton, where it's been said that he's filed bankruptcy. And I mean, what you got? What you think we're going to say, or you think you have? You don't have anything. You have nothing because believe me, I'm the very first person to put out my business, which I have. I'm on disability Social Security. This is our income. This is what we spend. This is what we do. If I'm going to fight George, have I not done it right in front of you guys? I didn't save it till afterwards when something's bothering me. But I'm not so far extreme that I'll put my husband on air while I shower him outside with a hose, like other channels. I'm just giving you guys an example. But I mean, what do they think if they send an email and say, "Hey, here's a divorce lawyer, George," that they're going to disturb our morning or something? No, guys, we find you to be sad and pathetic is what I mean. That's all you're going to get out of us is a laugh. We will sit around here laughing about you. We have an ideal of like what realm you come from, but the more you show your IQ there, I mean, you evidently don't know a whole lot about YouTube. 10% would be average, 5 would be about normal. So then we should be averaging 600 on anything, but 5, it's anywhere between 3 and 6 for our channel views, 300 to 600. So we do just fine. So that's what we're supposed to do.
Now, also be aware that it's important to note. First off, we are a retirement channel. Now,
Mhm.
somebody says again. This tells you first off, this is not her. Yet you are here, George. Now,
Mhm. And any other channel that you see that has extreme numbers, they are buying their numbers. Anything that's like way out of view, there's a very good chance that they're buying their
it used to be
live
10%
stream.
of your subs is your views. Now it's 5% of
It's
your subs.
5%.
The algorithm changed.
And we used to have that. We used to get 1.2 and whatever. Go look at Sunshine Shoulders. He just had Q's Adventure, and they will be nice to you with an algorithm in the beginning that'll feed your videos forever. After that, they need you to pay for them. So you then pay YouTube through Google AdSense. And if somebody has, say, 4,000 subs, and I'm going to use that number because somebody used ours. If you have 4,000 subs, then you probably most should be seeing about 400 on each video. That'd be right, 2 to
Right.
400 views. When those videos come up with 12,000 views and 18,000 views and 6,000, and then you see within an hour they've had, a 25% thumbs up on stuff and all that, that is something that could possibly be paid for. That is something that their live streams, when they have large numbers, that they're paying for it. So these aren't normal numbers, and our actual YouTube manager mentioned that
Well,
last
and like
night,
I
that-
said, like I brought up again, yet you are here, George. Again, we are a retirement channel, and this is important because first off, this is holistically related to the topic.
well,
One,
they're talking about the other George.
okay. Oh, the other. Well,
Yeah, no, they're talking about the George that are troll.
okay. Yeah, but either
that's
way,
who
again,
Eaton stuff.
point being is,
And I think
regardless of
that's-
intention,
I think that's the Eaton squad
that
Adelaide.
I'm here because honestly, a lot of Filipinos I would say a good 70%, not necessarily higher than that, of Filipinos that did live abroad, they always come home to retire.
Yes, they do.
Right. And that's important to note. And also that also tells you that Philippines is not a bad place. You know what I'm saying? When the people come home to retire. And just remember that. Now there are others that again, I've spoken with a lot of Filipinos, and one of the red flags I get is if I know the person can speak Tagalog or Kapampangan like I do, when they insist on like not speaking Filipino or Tagalog when they arrive here, then you know there's something wrong. It means they
I don't know who.
detest their culture and stuff like that. Again, I'm against that. It's no different than American, when that left the US, lived in France and come back, and they only speak French and they refuse to speak English even if they are capable to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diego Firestone said, "Keep up the great videos. You guys are awesome." And somebody said Terry Polling's still alive. There's a lot of expats here, 700,000 Americans alone. So not sure who that is. And there is a lot of channels. We seen one the other day that blew our mind. 33,000 subscribers came up in our feed, and they only had 100 views, 19 views, 8 views. And I'm like,
No,
that's not.
there's some 32K, right? And then
Right.
they have
There's no
20
way
views.
there's no way in any manner that would work out. Even if they had one viral video, that still does not match that the people that signed up wouldn't at least go in and look at their stuff if it was real.
So again, speaking of a ratio, I'm just letting you guys know, it doesn't necessarily apply to us. The simple math is simple.
Oh snap!
All right, hold on. The simple ratio is easy. Again,
My boy is in
back
there.
then it's 10%. Oh, chosen one. All right.
Ow.
Oh, Sunshine Shoulders. Oh, thank you so much, Sunshine Shoulders. Calvin in the house. You guys are correct about the algorithm. Yes, and actually, that's what I was getting at.
It's a real
So, for
thing.
example, our subs is 6,000. Okay, 6,000, 10% used to be. If it's 6,000, you get 10%, which is 600. However, the new algorithm is different now. It cuts you in half. So technically, every video we have
Is about
should
5,
have
she
about
said.
3 to 5, right?
And we
So
are
our-
at
Yes,
we
we're on
we
the
used
right,
to get
correct
that,
amount.
Calvin. We used to get about 1,200 when we went from the US to Mexico.
Thank you
and
so much for your
Mexico,
support, Calvin.
we used to get that, Calvin. We used to get about 800, 1,200, 2,200 on everything we put out. Live streams used to always be at 1,000. Now we're at 500 or 600. And our manager, we was talking to her. I seen you and Q's thing, and I know how you was telling him, because it's the truth about asking people to subscribe. The more we push people to subscribe, the less we got.
Right. It's kind of like people are being forced to subscribe. So
The same with if we were trying to meet a goal of like getting people to send stickers, we'd make jokes about paying for George's, beer funds or our coffee funds if we needed something extra like a cat surgery. And I ain't gonna lie that we didn't, there are times that we were wanting to, save up something to do something. Our birthday's coming up. The more we ask on anything, the more we got shot down.
Right.
But Calvin, I want to say really quick, since the beginning of time, we've always been
we've
like
always
Calvin.
watched you. Yeah.
I said some people don't like,
when you used to vlog with your phone, and then you always had that white painted house, and you're always that window behind him.
Yeah, his beginning. We've been watching him for several years. We always, almost every live, we say something about Calvin because he's about the realest channel here. Now, there are other channels that we know are keeping it real, but like Calvin, you got to appreciate him flat out putting when he's talking about Filipino women, or he's talking about the guys coming here and that they mess up all the time. He's kind of like us. He's kind of like the uncle that's saying, hey, this is what's going on, or like your dad, or like a brother. And that's what we're trying to be, except for like we're kind of up against the river there, Calvin, as far as me being a female. But it's what we want to do. Nobody's going to change what Calvin does, what we do, and it's all entertainment at the end of the day, like he says. And it's always going to come back to that. And it's a rough swimming pool out there in the Philippines. We asked our manager, we asked her about how rough it is. I said, do you know anything about the Philippine YouTube community? And she, for about a minute, she was like, yes. I said, well, let me tell you about something. And then we went through and discussed the competition, what's going on, the type of content that's being put out. And she says, yes, we're aware the Philippines is different. She admitted that. Then we went in about Mark Thornton. Didn't use his name, but we used the incident, which he said, of course, could be shut down. And we kind of talked to her about different things. She said, yes, it's a man's world there as far as the content that's being put out, or it's super young people doing travel here. And so it's kind of, we have to like carve out our own niche, but we know at the end of the day, when people come here, we feel good about that. When we can help our community and give food away, or we buy out the ice cream little trucks that, come by the little stands and stuff. It's the little things that we can actually do that makes it well worth, being the vlogger that we are.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So watch out
Thank
for the YouTubers again. A good example would be, again, can the 5%, 10% number be off? Yes, occasionally. For example, again, I'm gonna bring up Brian. Hey Brian, how you doing? Philly in the Philippines, only because I personally know him, and again, he's a nice guy.
Yes.
And again, he has 100,000, over 100,000 subs. But if you watch his numbers, they're not equal. They don't match. What I'm saying is,
They're correct numbers.
right, they're correct numbers. What I'm saying is, Philly in the Philippines doesn't have 100K subs and have 100K views.
That's what most people. That's people that don't
You
know
know what I'm
the
saying?
industry.
Now, what I'm getting at is, Philly in the Philippines numbers are about right. They're in the ballpark. They're in the proper number.
And
When you
can,
see,
you can get
yeah,
a kick of
so
higher numbers.
right,
On some
can
things.
he
It
break that
happens.
100,000 views on a video? Yes, keyword occasionally, but not all the time. You can't have 100K subs and have 100K views all the time. If that's what you see, then there's something wrong. Okay. Hi Brian, how you doing? No, great guy. Brian, Phil in the Philippines, and there's also Sunshine Shoulders, Kevin Roach, great guy, great advice.
He come in here and said a few more things. He said, Sunshine said, I was wondering what happens to my views. Check out the channel Bright Side, 44 million subs and fighting for 10,000 views. It is happening, Calvin. We just had another vlogger that's around our channel. He just did a video on YouTube where he was talking about it's all going to go to 4K TVs, and he was kind of doing like a fear mongering situation where he's talking about this is what's going on and this AI thing, but it's nothing that hasn't been said for the last year or two. If you're using all AI content on every single thing, our manager says that there's like a check that you got to let people know, which makes sense. People are making fake Star Wars movies, and they're adding in, say, Martha Stewart. Some people in the future, the younger generations, may believe that's a real movie, and that's really, their permission being given. So you have to let them know it's AI audio, singing the songs. You have to let them know all that. I don't think it's all going to go to televisions, but back to that situation, it's happening. Yes, we've seen channels with 1.5 million that only get like 20,000 views, and it's not 20,000, 10,000. It's causing people to quit because those type of content players used to get some decent money, but they did it like we do. We do it for the people, and we like to interact with the people. When that all goes away, the money and the interaction, and one guy bought out an entire restaurant just to do his channel, which I thought was a little silly, but he got like overstimulated and he bought the restaurant. Remember I told you that? The production, the restaurant, he stopped doing pizzas and dining, and he actually went to full-time YouTubing, and then they cut his views down like that. So it is happening. They admit it's happening. Now she's like, oh, well, go ahead and contact this department and maybe they can look into it. But it's really not. It's just what's going on. It's oversaturated. All the new people entering the country, all the new people that are starting in YouTube, they always favor that, and then eventually it drops off. Calvin said something right. He said that just because you see somebody with 4,000 subs, are they really watching? Are they paying for numbers? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? You can buy everything, including a live stream now. You can buy the comments that are coming in. You can buy the subs. You can buy all that. There are some that do it a little sneakier where YouTube doesn't catch on to it. But if you go into that one program, it'll show you if somebody all of a sudden is getting 200 subscribers a day on a small channel, 120, 100, that's not normal. It's not normal to come in like that with such a channel. So you have to know that, it makes everybody feel that they can get those numbers, but it's a wild game.
Right. And just to clarify, guys, again, we do have a YouTube manager, but I think the title YouTube manager is somewhat misleading because they're
I'll tell you what she is.
Te-
She's a worker, man.
technically
I told her
you,
I'm gonna take a
YouTube
nap.
managers are YouTube PR managers. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
they don't handle the finances. They don't do a
They
lot
can,
of
they can't
stuff.
flip on the
They
switch and
don't.
give
Yeah,
us
they
more
don't.
numbers.
Correct.
She's right now. I told George if she repeats like our previous one that said on the occasion, if you just go ahead and pay for the Google advertisement, which is about $60 to $100 for a day or two. I'm not going to pay $60 to push a video that only pays me $5, and that is the truth per video. $5.
And some do.
We get $200 to $300 a month with stickers. And so we've been fine with that. We're slowly growing. It's never been about the money, but they want you to pay $600, $700, $800 to promote a few videos a month so you can gain people. What happens is you gain those people after paying all that money, and those people never come back to watch anything else. We would rather bring people in and talk with them, get to know them, give them the floor, answer their questions, say hello, and get to know our people than to pay for somebody that's really not there. And it shows. If all of a sudden you see somebody with 12,000 views and then they drop down to 380 for a video, that means the 4,000 people aren't real. It's just
Correct.
something, or their 12,000 people are not real, or they're 18,000. It's really tricky. So she
And-
wants us to do that.
Yeah.
She wants us to do that. Then she went into a bunch of other stuff. And I told George, I said, you do realize some people hire an entire manager to do this stuff. So she's like, oh, well, you should go back into shorts again. And you should go back into doing a video every day and your live streams. And you need to go in and do a bunch of community posts. We want you to do update on, adding all your merchandise and advertise your merchandise. I said, George, I said, I'm tired. I'm gonna have to take a nap just thinking about that. But she wants more and more and more. The more we put out in the past, the less we got on views and whatever. And it is true now. So that's the only way the YouTube game is changing right now. Is that it used to be a year and a half ago, they used to do more during the pandemic. It seems like, Calvin, when the pandemic slowed down and things reopened everywhere in the world, I think they slowed down on paying people. I also, and George doesn't believe that they're really giving us our true numbers. We think you said they're
Okay.
transparency
well,
on.
there's no transparency on YouTube whatsoever. And again, I'm not.
We think the numbers are wrong.
Well, actually, I was going to say, Social Blade, guys, again,
It's not
whether you're a
real.
troll or not, don't rely on Social Blade. It's highly inaccurate. I've spoken with a lot of YouTubers personally, face to face. And
Those numbers
we
aren't
laugh
real.
because we're like, we wish we made that money. You know what I'm saying? We wish, no, Social Blade is usually
what is
incorrect.
the other one that they're all using? That's how that other channel showed our numbers and did a comparison.
You mean
before.
vidIQ?
vidIQ numbers aren't right either.
Yeah,
We just
they're
had
not
another
real.
channel, and I'm not even going to say their name. They just put our numbers up
These
against their numbers, and
are-
I'm like,
Right.
those aren't our numbers. They're close, but they're not our numbers. And you want to say you don't own the channel, but yet you won't say the name of our channel, but you could put our channel up there and
Right.
compare us to other Angel
Yeah,
City vloggers.
These
and I'm
are
like,
third party,
so
which
genius.
means it's not YouTube's algorithm. That's no different than me reporting what the cops are doing in their police station.
Yeah, the numbers
I'm not
just aren't
connected
right.
to them.
So we
You know what I'm
believe
saying?
we
It's a third
believe
party,
yeah,
yes.
we believe for sure that that for sure that Calvin could be getting 80,000 views and they're just not putting it there. Because there's no way he's putting out that content and he's only getting X amount. The same with us. We don't believe we deserve more, but there are times, we're not even gonna lie, there are times that 3 days will go by. Oh, and their stuff is lagged. So 3 days will go by and we don't have any comments. Nothing changes. We have the same thumbs up on some things. I'm like, that can't be possible either. And then all of a sudden we'll get a crap load of messages that'll load from a couple days ago
old
or a
comments.
month ago.
We've had comments pop up
Or a
literally
year
a year ago, and we're like,
so there's just something off. And she said, yes, this is all a possibility. And I said, there's just not, even at 5% of the people that are watching, it's like the ratios are off. But we think, I don't know, we're kind of like, I think just one day at a time, but just more viewers doesn't necessarily mean more views, and they can only be watching 1 minute at a time. They can open it up and close it within a minute. So it's a game. It's just a game.
yeah, okay. Sarah Dan says, hit that like button. Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate your support. We love you. And also, actually, I'm trying to find my place back here.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, somebody come in and said, "What's this?" This was about Mark Thornton and his fight. Yes, he could go to jail. Yes, it's a possibility he could get deported, and he could lose his YouTube channel.
Now, this could be a real thing because a lot of people aren't aware that dementia causes aggressiveness. I'm not saying he has that. I'm not saying he has that, but dementia can cause a lot of
Mhm.
misunderstanding, angst, and arguments. Just saying something to think about too, and it can happen from 70 year plus years, if not, or actually
No,
dementia.
that's a very good thought there.
Yeah, it's a very high probability that actually, I believe once
Thanks,
you hit
Tim.
60, every year your probability of getting dementia doubles. So it's pretty much you're guaranteed to get it eventually.
Hey, Eaton Squad
Yeah.
is in the house.
Hey.
Eric Dexter further down, and I know it'll take a little bit to get to it. He said Philippine investment channels are not easy to find in English, at least so far, but it's a rough thing to cover. And you have to watch that type of investment information that you give out. I've seen, speaking of Mark Thornton, I've seen where he's had several of those people come in on his channel giving all kinds of information. You realize if they give the wrong information, kind of like a doctor, a lawyer, and whatever, and somebody feels it's totally wrong, they report your channel and then you go down. That's why we always put in the legality. The other channel, and I do appreciate people signing up. The Island Reboot Philippines is about female expats and expats coming here, me restarting my life, or kind of doing a second channel off of this. I actually say, hey, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a attorney, but I'm not, get your medical advice, and what's working for me may not work for you. And it's the same with this. And so, yeah, I think that's why there's not too many of them. And then in English, yeah, that'd be kind of rough.
Yeah. Will Smith, I find the humor in that, but unfortunately I can't put it up. I'll partially read it. I feel like 4 months from now, Mark's channel is going to be called Everyman Has Your. Not hilarious, but unfortunately, like I said, according to our YouTube manager, there's certain things we can't say. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
And
that's funny.
Sunshine, if you're still in a house, we don't mind you coming in. We would actually be honored if you wanted to. The link's at the top. Just bring you in and promote your channel. I mean, it's, like our manager said, all exposure from other channels is really actually nice. And we did give Mark Thornton a chance to come in. And I get he doesn't need that. But there was one point where his channel was small too. And nobody's really here to fully rip him down. I would like to tell him, take that video down. I've been through something last year similar. Everybody's out to take you down, but fluffing up your chest and feathers and doing a standoff thing when people have been advising you, you're still keeping it up. You're going to be in trouble for this. And we still have haters. There's a good chance people are trying to report us for stupid things. I know you have to stand up one day at a time. It's part of you being any sort of public figure. They're constantly coming after Calvin.
Right.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And every time I hear that, I tell George, I said, that's it. I'm going to pack my bags and I'm going to go over there and I'm just going to walk around like I'm his security. I'm like, leave my boy alone, but that's the way you feel like, because it's like everybody's out to get you. And all he's done is help the
in the Philippines.
Yes, in the Philippines. Nobody messed with us or gave us a
Not
hard
in
time in
Mexico,
Mexico,
not in
the US. We have people with
Here in the
bigger
Philippines.
channels that we know,
And
friends,
they're expats.
and they don't mess with their channel over there.
Right.
And it's like we get people have a level of whatever, but then they want to mess with his channel. And I'm sure Mark and we know that Old Dog has had his own issues, and some of the channels around us have had their own issues. I'd eat my shorts if Philly in the Philippines hasn't had a bunch of them.
I'm sure. No,
as
he
a
does,
matter
he
of fact,
does.
he did say
told
he
me,
did.
yeah.
Well, no, I know that he has,
Yeah.
but remember, he actually told us like 2 or 3 times they come after his family, different people, and
Yeah.
he's really had a hard time at it. And it makes people like, well, why do people do it? He does it because he enjoys the people too, like we do. It's not about the, some people can make a couple hundred or a couple thousand. You think that people like, let's say, Old Dog making a couple thousand and whatever, you think it's about that? I think for him, it's about he likes the people too. I think he would rather enjoy his retirement. We've often asked ourselves, well, why doesn't he? Because it's got to be a lot of work, and he probably eventually will. Something tells me within a year or so, I think he will just enjoy Baby May and go off on that land and do his thing. I mean, you just don't want to do it forever either. So, but yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot
and
going on.
actually, somewhat related to the topic and unrelated at the same time. The the difference, it's kind of like one of those things,
Hey,
like,
baby.
you know how when Westerners say, "Let's take this outside," it guarantees
Oh
a fight.
man,
In the Philippines, I'm not talking about that statement, but in the Philippines, be
that's
aware
true, Todd.
when an expat tells you, "I know where you live," it's a threat, right?
We got a few of those in
But
the beginning.
here's the thing: when a Filipino tells you, "I know where you live," and we do, we always say that, it's not a threat to Filipinos. We're trying to form a bond. We're like, "Hey, I know where you live." That means
Mm-hmm.
we're in that area, we hang out in that area. And actually, usually the most common thing in most, again, Philippine greetings, like kind of like the Irish, like I always say, I make fun of it. I'm MacLeod from the clan MacLeod. We're in the hilltops. We're the same way. Very common question, they said, "Where do you live?" It's usually, "Hey, my name's George." "Oh, hey George, where do you live?" No, really, it's our bonding thing, just so you guys know.
Yeah, further down. Let's see who came in. Tim Huss says a lot of times I'm able to hit the play and just listen in the background. Focus in Asia said hi to Todd. Todd M is in the house. Hey, what's going on? He said crab mentality does exist on YouTube, most definitely. Hey, Cindy G is in the house.
Hey Cindy.
Focus in Asia, man, I expect you to sign up for one of our memberships. He says I do YouTube strictly for that $25 a month. I hear you, man. No, he does it for himself.
JR, honestly, I don't know why. How come we haven't met up yet?
Well, we really should.
JR
He's one of
travels a
those
lot. Actually, he
people.
went to Thailand recently. But yeah, I mean, he's somewhat in the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should meet up sometime. Where was I?
Yeah, I've been reading through a few of them. Did you get the one above Sunshine where he did put a comment in there?
Yeah. Well, just real quick again regarding Sunshine's
I
topic.
think a lot of the YouTubers
Yeah.
should actually cooperate correctly, collaborate. And our manager said that. They said it's kind of like old business back in the day. That's how you did it. You network. But here, there's so much crab mentality in the YouTube world, and so much. They're not going to do it with me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's just I will say it has made me cry in that manner. There was a time about a year ago, I got really upset during the thing that happened with us because I told George, I said, all I wanted to do was make friends with that vlogger. And it was true. And then it got to be where the only way he wanted to do things was to put our photos up and talk about me and big women. And it got to be really ugly at that time. And in the end, I just didn't want to hurt the wife and I didn't want to hurt him. And I'm the one that stepped forward. But sometimes I feel in this country, unlike the US and Mexico, it just feels like, some of the other guys will be like, hey, come on the channel, or the other Filipinas will have each other on the channels. And sometimes I was feeling kind of left out. So we're doing our own branding, so we're slowly just networking with the people, which is the best we can do is go out and meet people, talk to them, interact with them. And the one vloggers that we actually can actually do that. We might even get back into the interviews again. So
Right.
hey, Tito Cha.
Mike Ventura says, "I'm looking forward to coming back home upon return. Pangasinan, represent."
Hey.
Big brother, this is also true. Philly often do walk and street videos. Men like those watch without subscription. So your subs views ratio. Yes, again, like I said, you can usually break the 5 to 10% ratio, but
Not
not
often.
100K. What I'm saying is
Not often, no.
right. I gave Philly as an example because his numbers are right. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but I also want to let
Yeah.
people know is if you study anything on YouTube and check out a range of types of channels, information, stats, and then YouTube Manager, those stats are pretty close. You can get a viral video like his, but there is still a percentage
Right.
range for who watches versus who
Yeah,
subscribes.
and we're not talking about shorts. We're talking about long form.
Right. So in a
Or
case like
lives.
that where you're saying those type of people don't subscribe, I beg to differ. They do, but there is always a percentage on every channel. There's a range that even if you're going, how like the government has stats and we know that's all crap. There's kind of an in between. You know how there's two sides to a coin or somewhere in between information. It's still pretty much the same. So it doesn't happen all the time, but you'll see something consistent that you're just like, there's no possible way they're getting 90% in viewership on every single video. And because we know that the range that, it just, you can always tell when it's really off. Until about 6 months ago, I didn't know you can actually buy live streams and people in the live streams, and that you can buy
Oh,
likes and all of that. I think you might have known, but he's like,
yeah.
yeah,
She's talking
I
about bots.
didn't. Yeah,
They're called
bots. Yeah,
bots.
bots can come
Yeah.
up in there. You can set them up. It's all kinds of things you can do. We just don't. I'm sorry, I'm just too exhausted to even think about that.
Yeah, Mike Ventura says we appreciate you all, and yes, Joseph,
Hey, Joseph.
chosen one may or may not start his own channel. He's always talked about that. He's back in the Philippines, but I haven't seen him recently.
Mhm.
Actually,
We'll still have a live stream
yeah.
tomorrow. Hey, maybe there'll be something tomorrow.
Focus on Asia says shorts give people a ton of subs, but what they don't equate a long
Mm.
form views. No, they don't. Mark San Juan La Union vlog has 400K subs now. Has 2 shorts, gets 400 to 700 views on a long video.
Which he's actually pretty lucky on that. What is his? Oh,
Yeah, it's
400
about right.
subs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's about right. That's within the 5 to 10% range.
Well, no,
correct.
400,000. He would get more than that. That he should be getting at 10% would be 40,000, I believe.
Oh, then.
It's 10% of
Well,
400,000.
if it's lower, depends on how low it is.
But he got
yes.
them all off of shorts, which
Right.
means
Shorts
it would
don't
make
count,
it even.
yeah.
No, our manager really was pushing for that. And I told George, I said, we had more fun doing the shorts. But oh, by the way, they hit us on the what's it called on that video, the powder one. I had to take it down
I
yesterday.
figured they would.
I did a baby powder video where I said it's that hot in the Philippines, and it looked more like somebody reported it because it went down, and I'm like, it didn't even show nudity. It just showed somebody putting baby powder between their legs, and I'm like, and they're taking our stuff down like that? It's crazy.
Yeah, now to answer your question, Diego, whatever happened to the Mark's big ship he was going to purchase during COVID? It was canceled, and he made a video of it, and he not telling you full disclosure on what he did, but basically he took care of business, if that makes any sense.
So, as I'm to understand what little I know about that, somebody said he collected quite a bit of money.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
But yet, yeah, like we got, it's kind of hard. It's just crazy.
Right.
But you would think
he
that
did
would've
address it
gave
on his channel. I'm not gonna put, I'm
full
not
details, but
right,
he did, huh?
but he did talk about it on his channel.
Kind of crazy.
Bottom line, YouTube is when pandemic came to an end, people have less time to watch YouTube.
I think so, but I believe there's some other things going on. Remember, Google AdSense advertisement has been there for a little bit, probably a year or two, where they're really pushing it with the regular people. But only in the last year have they really, 6 months to a year, have they been pushing for people to pay for it. And I checked into it, and I checked it for one of our videos. And I think 2 days of pushing one video, depending on, you have to ask for the areas you want to push it in. If you ask for the US and something else, it could go up to $100 for 2 days. And I'm sorry. If I have $100, we have to fix old Mango here. So it's like, I'd rather spend that 5,000 fixing Mango than, our new yellow cat than to do that. And it's kind of like, we would invest it in something else or put it into the savings before we would, because it's, at that point, we're just buying, to beat on our chest or something to get bigger numbers, because it's really not going to increase our income. It's not going to, they're not real numbers. It's just increase. It's just kind of crazy.
Right. And Eden Squad says it varies on the video you put out. I have vids that goes up to 200K plus. I'm at 38 subs, and there are some that are five range, some are 10% more. Now,
That's
Eden
right.
Squad is an informative travel
Yeah,
channel.
check them out, guys.
Basically, depending on the situation, for instance, if say the Philippines gets locked down, then her views shoot up because
Oh man, that's a real
right.
thing.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on the situation and everything else.
What else did our manager say recently? She said something that I wasn't like kind of hip on for about a half a second. I said, well, maybe we should try. And then I'm like, nah, we're not going to do it. Remember, she asked us about doing a range of things. You doing more eating videos because you do most of the eating on the videos.
Which is funny, in my opinion.
Yeah. And she wanted us to do more types, like go into 5 or 6 things just to get other viewers in. I was like, you realize that's a crazy mixing pot. So in other words, we should do more shopping videos. We should, and we're already like showing our lives, and we plan to increase just life in the Philippines, but we're not going to all of a sudden start like going to jewelry stores just so people who like to look at jewelry can do that. Or we're not going to start going into all perfume shops because there's perfume people. And she really was suggesting that we got into 5 or 6 different types of content. What you looking at there, babe?
Nothing. I'll tell you later. It's nothing related to YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Alex
So
Living
it's
Abroad
it's
says,
cool.
yeah, I think a lot of people like to watch because most affordable form of entertainment, movie tickets, and streaming services cost money. Yes, this is true. Eric Dexter, you're not missing anything. And what I mean by that, Philippine investment channels are not easy to find in English, at least so far. First off, I don't recommend any type of business in the Philippines. And some of these,
Well, investment channels
in
are
some of these
just
investment channels,
I wouldn't get my investment advice off
I
of YouTube. I mean, it's hard enough we
yes,
get
correct.
health
I
stuff
wouldn't
off
get
there.
that investment advice too, because
It's kind of hard to decipher some of them. And
well,
like the health channel that I'm getting a lot of my information off right now that I pass on sometimes, it actually states that she is a US doctor, her licensing, everything. It says you have to provide that stuff to YouTube and it's verified. And you have to use your common sense even at that point when they give that information. That financial stuff is just something you wouldn't
and
play.
in the end, be aware it's a channel for views. And what I'm saying is, now there's some that are real, and some are, like I said, the influencers, like we are. Be aware. For instance, a good example is
Hey,
how
Kay
to build
Dallas.
your YouTube channels.
Kate,
Okay.
yeah,
Now,
Kay Dallas. We've been on for 2 hours and 40 minutes. We'll be live again tomorrow. We were just mostly doing an update on Mark Thornton and what our manager said. Kay Dallas just dropped in.
AK Das Hideout. Now, for example, a good example of technically an investment channel, because you're investing on YouTube. How to build your YouTube. Be aware in the end, they're trying to get you to watch them. The information may not necessarily be true. And I've told Heidi this a long time ago, like, I don't watch those because most of the time they're just, bull honky.
He says
Um,
he's a bot. Just say it. Just say what I said out loud. Just say bite me,
huh? Bite me?
Big Dave.
Oh, bite me, Big Dave. Why? What do you say?
I said he's a bot. He
Oh,
says
he's a
I'm a
bot. Big
bot. I'm
Dave.
waiting for payment.
Big Dave is a
Bite
bot.
me.
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying.
Hey,
So you're
we'll
not
mail
missing
we'll mail
anything.
that to you. Would you like a little bottle of Tanduay with that? Hey, we got Kitty in the house.
Yeah, Todd M says crab
Oh,
mentality
Pissy
exists
Bear.
on YouTube. Yes, they're
Yeah.
again. I do. Yeah. Heidi said this earlier, and now Jr. I know he's joking. However, there are some YouTubers that make that much or
No,
that less.
it's a very good possibility, especially if they're doing shorts or something else, or like repeat. Like it just depends. But a lot of people, the way the manager was going on, she literally wanted us to go into a lot of full time work. And I just told George when we did that, we used to do that with the same results. And we're not trying to give less to you guys. We watch these newer channels that have been out, like putting out a lot of content. Some of them are 10 years old, but just started doing heavy content. That happens a lot because they were viewers. But they're getting into their what do you call their zone, and they're putting out a lot more videos and live streams, and they're doing all these things. Filipinos, expats, and I told George, I said that's got to be exhausting. That means they're recording all the time. They're doing some editing. I wouldn't say they're doing a lot of editing, and then there's some that put in a lot of editing. So then you constantly have a camera in your hand. You're constantly answering comments, and that's a full-time job in itself. Now they want you to put out shorts. Some don't put out shorts. Then they want you all the time up in the community posts. And then, guys, we have other, avenues. Like we're on Facebook all the time. We still do some TikTok. We have a lot of social media accounts. And I told George, I said, technically, if we had the proper income coming in from this, then we would have to hire somebody to replace both of us doing, part-time work every day. So it's all the time. But if you don't enjoy it, like we enjoy it for the most part, unless it gets super busy, and it would just consume a lot of your time. It's a lot of time for money. You would have to get into other things like selling merchandise, selling, and not all those brand things come through for people. Like you're not going to be selling
that,
perfumes. Right. You see a lot of people do the insurance and all the things on the side. And we have a few in ours, but we've probably made, since we started those 3 years ago, we've probably made $100 on all of that. $100 for 3 years through the t-shirts. And this is real honesty, through the t-shirts. You guys ever wondered about that? The t-shirts, any of the sites that we used to list inside, $100. And so it's been nice. We appreciate it. It goes back into the cat food funds, you know. We spend $100 a month in cat food. We got 5 or 6 cats outside, a couple inside. It's okay, but I wouldn't bet your entire life on it. That's for sure.
Todd M says my Asawa's just started a cooking channel, but she doesn't
Oh,
talk.
cool.
She only has 100 subs, but is so excited to know that 2,000 sour shorts. It's not money for her. It's just being proud.
She's proud. And that's what we are. We get excited. You know, we get really excited. You know, when we started out doing live streams, we used to get like 20 views, 10 views, and we were really excited. So same way, we still get like that. So it's as a matter of fact, our very first live stream that we ever attempted was on TikTok, and we'd get 2 or 3 people in there. It was kind of crazy. We're like, okay. And we had like this one guy, he was like a teenager. He was really excited when we came in, and it was, you know, it is. It's about the excitement of your people and those that are in there. We
Right.
get that. We do.
Todd M says, I honestly don't want her doing it because I've learned about negatives from guys like you. But if she sticks to that type of format, meaning cooking, it should be safe. What I mean by that is some do the, exercise and, these tight spandex outfits, then they'll attract the wrong crowd, if that makes any sense.
Here's the thing. There has been a point, and I think every vlogger goes to it, and if they say they haven't, I think they're only lying to themselves, that they start to feel desperate. So you have these guys that are in Los Angeles right now, that are jumping off of a half-empty building. Remember I was telling you, they call it Graffiti LA or something. These guys, for their YouTube channel, are jumping off these buildings. They're diving. That's not what that is.
Oh, okay. Well, then
No,
clarify
babe.
it. Clarify.
Oh, well, they're jumping off of it. Sorry, he's thinking I'm talking about something else. They're skydiving for YouTube.
Base jumping.
Base jumping. I call it skydiving. I guess, skydiving is out of the airplane. You see, it tells you I
base
don't know.
jumping, then
No, they're doing that for the YouTube, but they're doing more and more dangerous stuff, which could lead to injuries. And so these other vloggers, Filipino or expat, do more and more surprising things or put out more shocking content. And so that's where it starts to turn. And I think we've put out some stuff that was kind of edgy or different. And I ask myself sometimes, would I have put that out? And we always talk about it before we do. But I know some people get super desperate, that's for sure. So you just want to make sure it doesn't turn to that angle. If she's happy, I think you'll be all right.
right. John Weiler, I believe you're talking about the anti-bustas law. Philippines has new law. They can charge you and deport you for being just rude house, mark and troublemaker. Now, keep in mind, this is expat on expat, which somewhat is a different level.
And I'm sorry, you call it the anti-whatever. There's a lot more to it than that. A lot of people think there's just a law that if you just cuss at them, that they're going to deport you. That's not it either.
That's what I said, yeah. And also,
because everybody would.
Well, what I'm saying is,
there are rules.
It's a different level when you're doing it to a citizen versus doing it to a fellow immigrant.
Even if you do, that Filipino has to go to a police station, file a report.
There's steps,
then there's a court hearing. And then you have to hire an attorney and file that. Then it falls on that person to continue that. The Philippines is not going to process you immediately and deport
No, it's
somebody.
not. No, I mean, there's still due process.
And there is a
right.
level.
It is a civilized nation, yes. There's still due process.
Like I said, I've already been in a case like that. We've talked about that from the opening. There was something similar with me, and I knew it would either not be prosecuted or it would go on forever. One, I didn't feel like paying for an attorney for the next 2 years. I didn't feel like going to court a few times a year till this was over. And my biggest reason I stopped, not that I was sitting around talking about the person all the time, because I hurt her feelings. And I told George, otherwise you wouldn't have got nothing out of me. The expat on the other side, it wasn't my business because he would have never met up with me. Okay. it was a matter of me hurting her feelings, and I wanted to stay a friend with her, and I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. Besides that, there's a good chance that that case wouldn't have gone nowhere, and I stand to that to this day. But you can't do it. I wouldn't even start to find out if you can, and then you could be tied up in legal fees and all of that. But they just don't do that. That I'm
Well,
sure
that's
of.
what I said. There's due
It's
process,
already
and that
happened to
due
me.
process
And I
costs
didn't
money.
even say anything. We're not even talking about, there wasn't even anything really even said. You know, I already admitted what happened on that. And all I did was say, there's going to be a confrontation. No, I got that. But I didn't cuss nobody out. But even that, something that simple could get you in trouble. That's what I'm trying to say, is it doesn't take even fully that to get you in trouble.
Right, but remember that's because it's
Because
again,
it's a Filipino.
right. That again, expat to
That's why I
expat,
said
different
avoid,
level entirely.
avoid. That's the best way to say, is to avoid, you know, the
Well,
confrontation.
any
It'd be any
confrontation.
country. Well, yeah, that'd be any country, guys.
Yeah.
The arguments, fully, you know, none of it. I would just avoid it. And I would try to solve it right away. So yeah, that
Yeah.
would be the biggest thing to do. So
Focus in Asia says he wasn't. The amount was no joke for my channel. Biggest month I ever had was 95. Majority of the time it's between 25 to 40 range. I tell you, people, you want to be a YouTuber for money? No,
yeah,
and it's not just him who says this too. Just so you guys know, it's really not a joke about the money or lack thereof. Ruby says, how about a video on how you can spend your day living in the Philippines? Todd says,
we have a video coming out tonight
yes,
where we went out to the Korean restaurant, and we plan to do more out and about. The better I'm feeling, the more weight. I think I'm about at 30 pounds weight loss in 2 months. I'll weigh in a few days again. So I'm exactly at my 30-day mark, but we do plan to do more. We have the car. It's just that my blood count here lately was way off, and I've been doing a little bit of sleeping, and there's something else. I felt like I got hit by a flu all of a sudden, and I just think it's because of my, you know, anemia. So I started more like vitamins, like vitamin E and some other things, and I am starting to feel better, and other medication. So we do plan to do them, and that is a
Yeah.
great idea. We plan to do more outings because I think people enjoy when we go out, and you know, we want to put more perspective. We'll probably start talking more about things. We don't want to go full documentary where we're like, hey, check this out. We're in the heart of, you know, Angeles City, and we're here to, you know, I don't want to get too documentary, but we want to be able to talk with people and
right.
show them things.
But
So
yeah, Korean restaurant as in a samgyeopsal, which means you cook your food in front of you.
he took me out just to make me cook
But
my own food.
honestly, among all the three samgyeopsal we went to, one of them, Miyagi, was with us. This was so far the best one we've had, and
Yeah. So
we
it'll come out
too much food,
tonight,
actually, put it that way.
about 7-8 hours.
Yeah. Todd M, do you guys consider yourself retired? Don't forget to enjoy life. Yes, pretty much, yes.
For the most part. Sometimes I feel when you do YouTube at our level and what our manager just asked, it would put us into full time again. And that's why we used to do a live. Sometimes we were doing them like daily and videos daily. And then we kind of did a lot of them in Mexico. Do we consider it? Yes, because most of the time we're not sitting 8-10 hours a day tied to something. We still get to do us, spend time with the animals, go for walks. We still have time to be retired, and we're not doing 16-hour days like we were in the US. So yes, we do consider
Oh yeah,
it
definitely.
retirement. So yes.
Sarah Tyson, good night. Grandkids have school. So school
Love you,
night.
Sarah.
Victoria says her mom just woke up and she's gonna take care of her. Good night, Sarah, and good night, Victoria. Take care of your mom and take care of your grandkids, Sarah.
Yes.
Tito Chat says, "Oh my goodness, I think she's talking about the money on YouTube."
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Our average month is about 10,000 pesos. Still is, has been for about a year. And that was a question we posed to our manager because we took that break in November, and I think it only dropped by 2,000 pesos. But it's enough to put back in the house and put towards other things. We save up for things, and so it's nice. But I told Georgia that if you calculate it, it's both one of our lowest paying jobs. But for us, it is rewarding to see the people. So, and you know,
Yeah,
we
Eden Squad
help a
says
lot.
editing is therapy. Ruby said to use my legs for that baby powder video, and Sarah thinks that would be funny.
I know. We take videos like that and use as an example what the Philippines would look like, but either some hater came in and reported it, and that's more of the probably possibility. As soon as that went up, whoever one of our trolls is, they reported it as something, or it just got hit immediately by the algorithm. So it wasn't a strike. It just meant that they would non-monetize it, and then they kind of shadow ban part of your channel. In other words, the next one that came out, we got little to no views. If you have one of those videos where they take the monetization away, just like when we were talking about legal leaf, that the Philippines, it came up in the news that they plan to, they're looking into, and there's a bill in to legalize for, whatever.
There's some things you're not really supposed to put
So
out
the
there.
legal, medical,
Although
legal leaf stuff that is in Thailand, which you're talking about taking away again, is that, yeah, they're pretty close. If not, they're going to stop that there. They're talking about doing it here, but right now it's 100% on the table for medical. So we talked about it and couldn't figure out why we only had 10 people in the room and blah, blah. They shadow banned us because of the title. So it's something, so we had to remove the video after that. So it was starting to affect some other things. Kitty's sleeping here, buddy.
Chuck Fast says, wasn't even thinking that YouTube would get after Mark over that, but I have not trusted the algorithm for 8 years now, along with whoever's involved with that. We don't know what they're up to.
I've let you know the manager's been doing it for a while, and she said yes. The fact that he would admit, if you go in, well, I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but you can actually contact YouTube on different levels, and they manually go through videos constantly, even if nobody reports them. And the fact that he would use those words, they can hear the words we say right now. It's in an algorithm. They can see that on the line. He put the word fist. That's going to attract YouTube. And if somebody manually goes in and hears that, she said yes, that they can close the channel. Will they? We don't know that. And we're just saying there's a possibility, and that came from yesterday.
Yeah, and be aware that, again, usually there's...
I mean, it is, anybody that's in this room right now, go look up YouTube policies. We're not talking about monetization. We're talking about YouTube. Anything dealing with talking, if you're sitting around talking about war and China and all these things, and you go heavily into what's considered, I'm sorry, it's still a form of violence, they can, without any strikes, close your channel. There's some people that don't get any strikes at all.
They have been, yes, there have been a few actually recently, last year.
There was a guy with a big channel, and he reopened another channel. Him and another channel went back and forth. It's the guy over him saying he took some of his content, and then it went back and forth. And the guy said something about he was going to do something to him. They closed his channel down. He made a comment on something else, and the guy said it appeared to him to be offensive and a threat, and they shut his channel down. There was no timeouts, no, because they say that you can go and watch those videos and that they'll give you a chance to remove the first strike, but they don't have to give strikes. They can just close.
Not necessarily correct.
Like that woman that they claim was abusing her children. Another form of abuse, although it was seen over and over again. She didn't get any warnings either. They just took her channel. So it's we're not saying that because he isn't repeating it or whatever, they could. He's still looking at all the possibilities. And if it isn't that possibility, if he gets thrown out of the Philippines and deported, blacklisted, or anything else because of his fight, and that he put his own video up there, he could get back to the U.S. Maybe people won't watch him because he's no longer doing interviews of expats, and he could lose his channel in the end anyways. Anything's a possibility.
Right.
Good chance that if he had to go back to the U.S., would his channel continue? Probably not. They watch him to do those interview people. They watch him because he's living here, and they're following his life of having a young, beautiful wife and a new life and a family. We know why people watch his channel. It's for those reasons. If he leaves, then he doesn't have a channel anymore.
And be aware, once YouTube bans your channel, you can't open up another one. You can try to cheat the system, meaning open up a new
like
bank account.
Like when Expat Trash came through, and there was all that stuff 6-7 months ago.
But eventually it'll catch up.
Correct. Whether they kill the algorithm or they do something, but they kept reopening. you can reopen it up. But if it goes by your router and other things, and they realize you're the same thing, they'll still find it in the end. And if there's not, there's going to be a hater that's going to report you. That's the other
Right.
thing that
The
can get
YouTube
you.
algorithm is so good that it can detect view mining. View mining is basically, for example, I want to increase my views by watching my own channel. They
Yes.
know you're watching your own channel.
We know there's
on a different
vloggers
device,
that'll turn
on
on
a
several
different account.
devices. They still can see all of
They
that,
know.
whether it happens for a
Correct.
while or not. They know it.
Yeah, well, it's not a person. Remember, it's an algorithm. It's designed to detect you. Todd M says, "I love you guys. How would counsel each other. Great people. Thank you so much."
Thank you.
Now, this is also important to note that it makes expats look bad. Deport both of them. They're making the rest of us passport bros look bad and going to cost us getting watched and checked more. Yes.
I think so.
No, it does. It does. It puts the highlight
Mhm.
on. And honestly, that's the problem. For the most part, Filipinos are neutral. However, the moment you do something wrong, they'll remember you and they will never forget that incident.
Yeah, further down, Todd M says Google can actually search your face too. So
Yes.
they can actually no.
Yes.
Their stuff
Face
in the last
recognition, yes.
6 months has really kicked up. Like I said, it's the biggest the biggest thing that's going to change for yeah, sorry, it said
Which
yeah.
one?
Oh, it must have been when
Yeah,
I
no,
touched
just,
and you lean back. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
when we
I've
go like
been
this,
doing
yeah.
this. Sorry, guys. There's been a lot that has changed even in the last 6 months with YouTube. And I don't think, like I said, it's going to go to memberships and all this stuff we keep hearing from the other channels. I believe what's going to happen with YouTube is they're either going to withdraw the monetization altogether, and then that it could go back to the way it was. There was never monetization 10 years ago or something, but
Yeah.
it's fairly a new thing. It's possible they might where you're going to just have to rely. They may not keep memberships in either. It could just actually come down to everything. You're just using their platform like these other new ones are doing. You're just using their platform to put your information out like a business card. And they could strictly go to that, but it could go to where you have to pay them to advertise on top of everything all the time. And they just won't push you at all. So
Right.
it could get pretty sticky. So
Yeah. Avalon says, "Hi, great video. Be careful with vitamin E. No link to cancer. Would research it. Take care."
Huh.
Um,
That is something I have not read. So
yeah, we put that up because again, it's ironically we were actually I can see it right there. But anyway,
yeah,
Ruby
you
says,
see
"I'm never a fan
anything.
of those Korean some gyupso where I have to cook my own food."
Right?
My take on going out for dinners, food serve as soon as it's cooked. It's more of the what's that the novelty of it. You know, it's a very novel idea. For instance,
Like
one of my
melting
favorite
pot.
my favorite restaurants is Melting Pot, which the average price of Melting Pot is $500 for two people, average price, and it's one of my favorite places there in the U.S. The difference is Melting Pot is a fondue, which means you basically skewer meat and then boil it in boiling water in front of you, broil it rather, and then take it out and then dip it and then eat it. Very similar here. It's more of a novelty.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I mean, guys, I'm not going to get extreme. Everything's bad for you. Breathing this air in the Philippines could be bad for you. As far as the cancer statement, I mean, there's a lot of other things that I'm doing that could cause that right now. My biggest thing is with the autoimmune deficiency, I'm starting to have like neuropathy in my hands and feet, like they tingle, they burn. I don't have diabetes, but I have bad circulation. It's a family history and everything. The lupus just kicked all that up 10 notches. So losing weight and doing the proper vitamins would need to be done because I'm now eating a diet, and I already have malabsorption because of my stomach surgery that I had. So I'm kind of got like a bunch of things against me. But the biggest thing it is saying through Google is the biggest side effects include nausea, fatigue, headache, and some bleeding because vitamin E is unsafe when you take too much of it. And so right now we're on a smaller dose of it. Okay. So, but it is good for inflammation that, we know of. some people, I didn't used to believe in vitamins, but when me and George wasn't taking our multivitamin and all that, it just wasn't in our heads. We both said, man, we're feeling tired. And we had other effects that we noticed. So we've always felt better when we take certain vitamins. Some people don't believe in vitamins at all, but um, I definitely plan to put more information on the other channel. I have to keep mentioning Island Reboot. The link is in the description. But I'm hoping to start like we are this channel. And he, of course, will join on the other channel because it's still linked to his channel. That we'll be covering more of the health side, probably food side, market, and doing things so we can help more people that want to actually move here. But I plan to stick to this. I've had like 99% positivity, and then of course a few people coming in and kind of trying to tear down what we're doing. But there's a few vitamins that I recommend that replace. I'm in a hormone situation, and there's a bunch of them, but it evidently is working because I've lost substantial weight.
Well, and also be aware that any extensive amount of anything is bad for you.
Yeah, so I've never
For
heard the cancer
example,
thing.
the primary basis of sugar that causes cancer. Okay, just an example. Sugar causes cancer. What's their basis on that?
Chosen one.
Yeah.
What is up, man?
Their basis on that is when they feed rats packs of sugar a day, which is technically the equivalent of if I ate 2 kilos of sugar every day, yeah, there's gonna be something effed up about me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So be aware that sometimes you wonder, like,
Every
well,
person. Well, we had a few people because I've been doing my own
and it's
natural
not
ice
everybody,
cream.
not everybody.
It's like I've started using coconut cream, coconut milk, and I replaced got rid of all dairy. Okay, it's way better that I got rid of all that dairy and white processed and all that. Okay, so I went to either buying fresh coconut or they have like containers of coconut juice and then some canned cream and some natural cream. And the person's like, oh, well, that's just a ton of sugar. It was a troll because they made fun of my size at the same thing. And then I told George, I said, no, people need to look at the full benefits of every item and what's good for them. It's kind of like the
It
diet. I
varies
say
per
is
person.
right. So for me, it's okay, but I wouldn't live on all coconut. It's just, it could break your skin out. It's good but bad. Excessive can cause you to break out. Yes, there's a lot of fats in it. It's not the healthiest fat, but it's not the worst fat. You got to take your levels. I told George you got to do everything
Yeah.
with a grain of salt.
Everybody's different.
Right. So,
Yeah.
eating that is better than a cheeseburger and so forth.
Yeah,
So,
like aspartame, for instance.
yeah.
I know I have dated people who, when they take even a small packet of aspartame, it gives them this
Migraine.
debilitating migraine where they can't even move. They're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
Everybody's
everybody will be
different.
different. Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Ruby says she takes vitamin D prescribed to her in Australia during the winter months. Otherwise, she gets the winter depression. It was like that in Ohio too. So,
Ruby
yeah.
says, would you be able to start a YouTube channel using your own Facebook? Yeah, but actually, probably yes, Ruby, only because AI content is more heavily monitored now than regular
You
content.
can. I don't recommend it because they plan to, you have to, of course, let people know that it's AI. Then it puts you in a different category, could slow down the algorithm. Some people it totally takes off, but after 6 months, it could actually crash situation. And it takes time to do that. Not as easy as all AI content that's put out will consume a few hours of your time just putting it together. You can, and then the cost of it. A lot of
Right.
people can get some free stuff, but in order to continue the AI content, you're going to have to spend 70, 80, $90 for one app. And it could get expensive in the end for sure. So,
Yeah. Joseph Kevert says, without 13A visa is this problem? Yes. If you misbehave and you're on on any type of visa, they can essentially not renew it.
the biggest thing, and not him in particular, and it's up to it, is somebody thought I was actually saying that Mark was violent at home. And my statement
No,
was,
no.
I'm not saying that he is all the time, but there's a good chance that if he did that there, he could be doing it other places. Okay. We're not saying that things are happening at home, but let's say things are. And let's say they start fighting over finances because they shut his channel down or it's all being used. This is all allegedly. I'm just giving you some scenarios. And if they go through there and they do that, um, and all of his money starts going on that, and then he can't afford all the stuff for the baby, and it starts taking away from their life there because he's just getting, to me, he's just starting his life, and now he's got a car payment. Legal, this is going to cost him. If he thinks he's just going to get out of it and shaking his head at us and other people that are saying this, it's going to happen. There's no way, unless this guy just totally drops it and leaves it alone. Okay, I just don't think it's actually going to go away. And in that manner, she can have it revoked. The
Correct.
biggest person that could take that away from him
Correct.
right now
The partner can.
would be the partner. Is it a possibility? It depends. If a bunch of people rally and don't like him that much, they can turn paperwork in themselves and report an expat for being an undesirable.
Which is what I was going to get at.
Take
13A,
to, yeah.
part of it requires an NBI check.
Correct, which he's already had. But here's the
And
thing.
isn't it every year?
Well, here's the thing. If he leaves, he's going to need an exit clearance.
That
if he's
too,
got
which is
some
another NBI
sort,
check.
once that goes in there, that'll be in his record. So that could be. Never thought about
Right,
that.
the
So,
NBI check. Yes.
well, an exit clearance, they'll just go running a background to make sure there's nothing
Mhm.
derogatory against him. So if I did that and somebody files something, that will be on my record.
Yes, and it will be a problem. And to clarify again,
That means there's a
what
good
we
chance he might not
what
be
we
able to
said
get back
about
in.
the violent tendencies has nothing to do with him personally. What we said was, if a person misbehaves and turns violent in public, what more behind closed doors?
Yeah, that was our biggest
'Cause
scenario.
they had a ton of witnesses, a lot of people watching what's going on, and it still happened. What more if nobody's watching? I'm not saying it does. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
saying
mean,
it doesn't.
we
But what I'm
we
saying
we
is,
can give the scenario of Tom Hanks, nicest guy in the world. He's always been nice on camera and this and that. But sometimes you can't push a man too far. Now, maybe that's this instance. Maybe he's never had any other issues. He's never shown anything in public. But I'm gonna let you know that through people have commented and stuff we've read on his channel and other things, it's been said that there's an issue with Mark Thornton. They've been talking about it since I've been in the Philippines. I'm gonna tell you that right now, right? So let's say that everybody's right and all of that. There was, like I said, I started mentioning Tom Hanks. And the reason I mentioned Tom Hanks is he ended up going off on somebody that almost knocked his wife over. Her name is Rita Wilson or something like
right?
that. But his wife started to get trampled. And he was like, hey, hey, hey. And I'd never seen Tom Hanks so mad in my entire life. I don't think we're dealing with that scenario where we're like George. You have to really push George. I've only seen him like really mad 3 times in 5 years. And now I'm talking about when he's mad, he's mad. You don't want to cross him. It's like, but in a case like that, I think it's a possibility that his alleged possible arrogance and his head got bigger than everything because of the YouTube thing, and that he's just, I don't know. It just went too far. And if he thinks that he's above all of this, that's really going to be rough. He could lose everything, all in the roll of a dice, to ask somebody to step outside. He knew it was going to be a fight. He actually fought the guy when he got outside the door, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I don't care what I'm saying. I don't care what the next person's saying. You can't turn around and say, well, it was Philippine Antics that spread it around and all them other nasty vloggers, and that's why I'm in trouble. Because at the end of the day, that could be what he actually blames, is how everybody else, him not appearing on our show didn't kill our show today. It just gave him a chance, being he's leaving his video up, to say, hey, maybe I should go and apologize to the guy. Anything could have came good out of this. But he actually, to me, it seemed like he was being a little arrogant in his statement. He doesn't say no, thank you, or whatever. It was a pretty much flat no. But he still could have came on here and
It's
said
about their
something.
approach.
Yeah, the way he approached when we asked
It's
him to come
about their
on
approach.
wasn't. It's, in my personal opinion, he was not going to come on. And it's not that he wasn't going to justify, because he kept justifying himself over and over again why he did that, which was wrong. But he's not going to come on the show because, one, I'm a female expat, and he wasn't going to come on my show and sit there and talk about it. First off, he knows I'm going to say something, and he was worried about people that were going to confront him on that it was wrong too, which tells me he knows he's wrong.
Right.
Because if he was so right and was scared, he'd come on here to say, listen, this is why, blah, blah. This isn't his attorney telling him to be quiet. because our attorney told us to turn our videos off. It wasn't an admittance of guilt. They just said that the one video that we had a year ago just needed to come down. And we agreed on that right away. So
Yeah.
it's there's a lot. So it's he kind of just put himself in a thing immediately when he gave that statement. And I'll find it again. It's in here somewhere. His exact statement. The exact statement from Mark Thornton was, I said, good morning. I said, we are going to cover this incident about Ground Zero. I said, we've had hundreds of emails and we are very neutral on this and would like to discuss and invite you so you can respond to some of the people and talk with us. Gave him the link. He came back immediately. I mean, we're talking within 10, 15 minutes and said, sorry, I'm not interested. So I just, other people say it didn't sound kind of off, but to me, it actually did. So, with you getting the popcorn out again?
Thank you so much, Todd. And I appreciate your support, man.
Thank you so much. Frank Ellis is in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he's not
Frank
interested.
Ellis.
He had a chance.
Look who's late.
Chosen one. What is up? Hey, you better get your bike over here so I can get a ride on it before they actually make you license that sucker.
What do you mean? It's licensed. It's a motorbike.
Oh, I thought he had an e-bike.
He's got a scooter.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
He's got a scooter / motorcycle. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I always miss
will
the
be
good
another
stuff.
topic.
I need to start taking vitamins. Nobody ever gets all the vitamins from food.
I'm especially not.
Mark,
it's
aka
really rough for me. Yeah. Yeah.
1-star flag says, "What up, everyone? New to the live stream."
Good morning. Good
Ruby
evening
says,
for
"What up, girl?"
everybody. And where are our new people from? Just let
Dave,
us know.
you ain't right. You ain't right.
I'm gonna let you know right now.
Oh my gosh,
George
you ain't right.
told me to put that ship on the thing. He said, "Be honest. I just had a nice little AI generated little thing of our expat friend in the Philippines." And what did you say? Be honest, babe.
Ship it.
He said, George said, put a cruise ship on our base. He worked on one. And I said, he's going to think wrong of that.
Yeah.
He said, which that's his thing. He worked on a cruise ship forever.
Which, again, it's true. But
the love boat. I went on a cruise one time, guys, and me and George talked about that after we got married in Florida. We got married on a ship ourselves, and I went once, and it was a nice cruise line, and I was out for I think it was like a 10-day cruise. Too long for me, guys. I wouldn't do it again. It was nice, but I told George we were thinking about saving up, and in a couple years on their 10th anniversary, I'd like to go on one of these Asian cruises. They leave out of some of the other countries, and they're starting to leave out of here again. And it's fairly okay on the price. Take some time to save up for it, but I just don't think I can do it. It was a bad cruise. So I went to Cozumel, Belize, and there was another port for me and my sister, and we went. It was just too long. The seas were rough, and it was just too much.
Right. Frank Ellis says it looks like Mark needs to grovel and pay that guy off. Actually, if I were him, I would get a lawyer and then ask my lawyer what are my options, because
I would have took the video down. I keep talking about that. Whether he rewatches us, he knows this video exists.
The grovel and payoff part should have happened before the video. If that makes any sense. But now, since the video is out, now he needs to. My recommendation, or what I would do, is hire a lawyer and go from there. Because again, the grovel and payoff part should be before the video. You know what I'm saying? Thad says it's like bad cobra's bite. This Mark thing.
All right.
Chosen one says Mark.
Ted, if you're still in the house, I'm sending you a message.
Mark runs Dumaguete, top dog. That's funny.
And I'll check in case something got changed, but it shouldn't be he said that he couldn't actually ban people because we had some trolls in there, and I was just letting him know that you don't really have a ban. They can still see you. Like, we know our trolls still see us, the ones that were in there talking, but we can take them out of making the comments. So that'd be a matter of just hiding the user. So if you're still in there, yeah, there is no actual.
John Wheeler says he got pretty much calling the other guy a chomo. Frank Ellis, I wonder if him and an old dog are so. I don't
I don't think
they
so. I
are.
think they're just cordial because I don't see them really in anything. They used to be all the time, and according to other people, he doesn't even relate with them anymore and hang out with them anymore. So we could be wrong. We are not over there.
Yeah.
But according to the sources, the answer is no. The same with Geo. They all used to be in the same apartment complex or over in that area. As a matter of fact, Old Dog used to be near him. Something happened because I've watched those channels when we first, like a couple years ago, and they all used to interview each other, and that's how they got going. And even Old Dog was everybody was under 15 to 20,000 or 15,000 when we got here 3 years ago. Like they were at this number and they were all like going back and forth, promoting each other, hanging out, interviewing. And it really just took off. But in the beginning, like even Old Dog's channel was slow going. He used to hang out with Baby May's friends and used to make all these comments and I used to think his channel was really odd in the beginning. I made that statement. And although we watch it now, he hit his niche and now he does his thing where he does kind of the semi-expat help, semi-interview. He kind of does it, but in the beginning, it was really odd for me because it was mostly Baby May and her friends and he would have them all hanging out in the house and there was guys coming on that were it was just kind of odd for me in the beginning. But now he's actually turned it into a hell of a channel. No, I don't think they do hang out anymore. You smell like popcorn.
Bruce Davis says sell the cruise ship and buy the best lawyer or Run Willis.
Yeah. I think
no,
we
yeah,
should.
Davis, yeah,
And I think it'll go a long way. And that's if he's legit. Like I said, when I did mine, I apologized legitly, and I meant it.
Yeah.
I actually cried over that one because I was like, once I heard the person was really hurt, and I wasn't even out to hurt anybody, but this is very blatantly evident that he punched the guy, admitted it, and admitted a fist fight right on his channel, and it's still up. And it's not like he's going to get paid a ton of money. Just go and figure the most he's getting paid is 20 per thousand. If he got really, like if somebody stayed for the entire video, he might be at 20 per thousand. He's at 28,000 right now. So that's 28 times 20. So, okay. So he made $400 for it, but was it worth his soul? And all these things are up and coming.
Yeah.
Something for you guys to comment.
Correct. Thank you so much, Chosen One. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, Chosen One.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna let you come over and pet my cat for that.
Right.
I'm gonna let you pet my cat later.
I know it caught on to me after you said it. Bruce Davis, Frank Ellis. I agree with you. I've been saying that. One Star Flag says foreigner fights aren't the Philippines' concern. They got bigger fish to fry, so to speak. Right. Again, if it's expat to expat, it's different level.
It's not to an extent.
Right.
They could still report
No,
it to.
You could still get in trouble for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's really not their thing, but it really can turn into.
It's kind of like this. If, let's say.
And it looks like this guy plans to go and move forward and do something.
That's the point. Yes.
If was it Dirty Grandpa that sucker punched that one guy? Yeah, he sucker punched that guy. I think the guy's passed away since then. Isn't that guy they're claiming that he got into a fight with?
If they want to take it to the next level, they could, and that could get you in trouble.
That could be your landlord. Huh? Here, I got it. I was just gonna look.
Yeah, so they could get in trouble if they decide to push it forward. Yes. Big Dave says Old Dog doesn't want the drama, and that's probably why he separated himself.
No, and that's what somebody said. They said that he flat out is kind of, I think it was okay when they were all growing on each other and they were trying to. I think they tolerated doing all that, but unless somebody knows, there was something that happened. I don't know what that thing was. But there was some incident that finally just broke the camel's back with those two. They said that that he was using Paul all the time was what I heard. This is through the rumor mill, and I'm actually chismissing right now. There was something that he used Paul. Something happened, something, and then that's why they're not. That's where it kind of. That's all I heard.
Right, and Bruce Dave says 1 star. Well, it's a big deal. Who knows now? Again, it's the real problem. Again, it's after the fight. Is posting that video, and that escalated the severity level. Yes. Um, Big Matt Boy One says those expats
Is
think no, it's a delivery guy.
okay.
Those old expats thinks they're gangsta. Tupac and sure Snoop Doggy
Ice
Dog.
Cane, nasty
Poopy Pants.
dentures, right?
Right there you go.
Real quick on a side note, I know this is kind of off topic here. When he said that, it reminded me of the Pop Tart thing. They said that I didn't know Pop Tarts have been around for 60 years. I was going to post something on it, and then I thought, oh no, I'll just get a chunky girl comment on that one. But yeah, the guy passed away. He was in his 90s or something, but the guy just passed away that invented Pop Tarts. And currently there's close to 30 flavors. I thought there was more than that. But yeah, can you believe it's been 60 years? And George said, I was like, Rip. And George goes, what's wrong? Who died? And I was like, the Pop Tart guy. But God, we haven't had Pop Tarts in a
Since
few years. Yeah.
They're
here. You can find them
you
in the
had Pop
stores,
Tarts
but it's
probably a couple months when we moved into the other apartment. But after that,
we had shipped some and
yeah,
everything.
well,
But
and you still bought some. They sell them here.
yeah,
But eventually, you grow out of
everybody's had
stuff.
those Pop Tarts.
You
Yeah.
burn out, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
John Wheeler says Mark made a video calling the other guy that messes with. Oh, that's far out to get that. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
That there was an additional video because I didn't see anything additional. You talking about somebody else did? Yeah.
No, he says Mark did. I don't.
Was there
I
a
didn't
new
see
video?
one. I didn't see one.
We don't really know when we bring some guests on. I get there is a diligence to look some things up, and find out something about it. All we know is the guest that we brought in. Is he talking about that guest that we brought in the previous live?
No, he said Mark.
Made a video calling out the other guy that messes with.
Right, but
I don't know any
I
of
didn't
that.
see that one. But one star flags. Now, keep in mind, it depends on your way of thinking. Again, I'm not, and another person during our last live said the same thing I would have said. When you ask a man to step outside, what do you think's going to happen? Honestly, I don't think violence is going to happen if somebody asks me to go outside, and another person said the same thing. And I guess I'm sorry, not everybody thinks the same way. I don't know what these gentlemen thought. Obviously, one of them thought that's going to happen. But either way, again, honorably, the fight doesn't start until the fight starts. A sucker punch is a sucker punch. It's not the honorable way. Ruby says, imagine if someone made a video on these things for. I think there are channels on that. No, really. But I don't watch those types because for you to see those videos, you have to watch these types of videos.
Yeah, which is we try not to. Usually, when we cover these subjects, we received a bunch of messages. We only had watched Dumaguete vloggers on the occasion when the World Zoom thing came up. But understand, when our people start watching certain things, they put that through our feed. So it makes you wonder because the guy that we asked to be on our live stream the other day, we had never heard of his channel. Okay. I think he came up in our feed because a bunch of other people was seeing his videos because he put out something on Mark Thornton. Yeah. Mark Thornton's video came up, that came up, and I'm like, thank you for the early warning sign there, YouTube. They just put that stuff into your feed, and you're wondering why. Even if you're not fully subscribed to somebody, like you've only watched it once,
they force it to you.
Yeah. So if a bunch of people are watching Gone with the Wind, and it's the anniversary or Janet Jackson anniversary or Michael Jackson's death day, all of a sudden we get all their stuff. It's really wild. If our people are watching something and it's some sort of anniversary, we get a feed of all these different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So,
yeah. Sunday. Chosen One versus H Bachelor. Here it comes.
Oh, is something up with H Bachelor?
Chosen One says Angeles City ain't big enough for the both of us. I'm top dog like Mark.
By the way, let me reiterate that then for you, Chosen One. We are the #1 YouTube channel live streamers in the Philippines. I'm an American expat female that keeps it raw. George likes the raw dog. He's a Filipino That is a actual expat American expert. We are the number one
All
live
right, who
stream
would
in the
want to?
Philippines.
Who's gonna? Honest question. Who's gonna pay for a cage match? Chosen One versus H Bachelor versus Heidi. Heidi, 3-way cage match. I
Huh.
have my bets on Heidi. Just saying.
How about me, you, and what's his name? Oh, I'm trying to think of his name. How about we bring in Rose's husband?
That's not even right.
They'd still pay for it. Who
That's not
cares?
even right.
Oh, you don't think he couldn't whoop tail?
You can't bring a wheelchair to a leg fight.
Oh, bull crap. You don't think he's mean as a snake?
Mean. I said cage match.
I'm going to stay in my wheelchair.
Shouting match is another thing.
We didn't say how it was going down. Talking about the Campbell, David Campbell.
Yeah.
That's a joke. We were just talking about different people. I'll get in my wheelchair.
Well, this is all a joke because again, Heidi is again.
I do have a wheelchair. Occasionally, I
No,
have to
no,
be in it
she-
because of
she
my
does.
lupus.
She actually sometimes uses her wheelchair in the house.
I have
The
kidney
reason
issues.
why she doesn't use her wheelchair in the house because the Philippines is not exactly wheelchair friendly. Like
It's super narrow.
we
in
have
here.
to literally strip a good section just so she would have room for the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a joke.
like
yeah,
the doors aren't even wheelchair friendly. And so I'm just saying.
Do you really
um,
think?
What's that?
Oh, there was something further down from Mark.
Frank, unless Marks get busy, he can lose everything. No, he can.
That's where we're at, and we're just adding to it today that we've had so many comments. And today, honestly, we're at 3 hours right now. Usually, we don't do live streams this long. We enjoy people's company. We actually were going to read through some of the comments because there was a lot of people giving good information. They may not have the exact, but a lot of people's opinion was the same as ours. There should be an apology. You need to take the video down. There were some haters. There were some lovers. There was all kinds of stuff in our comment section. There was a lot of people talking to each other, and they're like, okay, who's a disabled person? He's not disabled. A lot of things came up,
Right.
But the biggest thing was something that none of us have talked about till today, and we're the first to bring it around. He could lose his channel first.
Correct.
Could happen today, could happen tomorrow, may not happen at all. And let's say he is, and he ever leaves the country again, they may not let him back in. He could be stuck in the U.S. There's so many possibilities, and I know I wouldn't be sleeping at night right now.
Well, again, the key is it's really up to the other guy. Mark needs to get busy. He will can lose. Is Justin involved with this also?
Jello wrestling.
Yeah.
Scott.
He is, but not really.
Yeah. I don't think he is. I think they're saying it all stemmed from that, but it goes back even further. You have to go back even further. And it's like I believe what MYK Mike was saying. It stemmed from the girls. I kind of semi-attacked him the other day. I was like, what's that got to do? Oh, dang, it did. They're saying there's something going on with the girlfriends and something else happened. There's that third and fourth side we're not seeing. And then I was like, oh, hell's bells. I said, the whole point is Mark punched somebody. He played high school. He took somebody and went towards the door, and they followed him, and they went out there, and he punched him twice, and then talked about how he had him in a headlock. And I'm like, my God, man, that's where I was. I didn't give a crap about MYK's story and all these wannabe, and I'm gonna call them wannabe vloggers because some of them only have 200-300 people and they really don't vlog. They only come in to gossip, like literal gossipers, like on Andy Omar's channel, and they were in there at Expat Trash, and I'm like, okay, guys, but they're putting out a different information, their own personal feelings, how they can't stand him and all that, and I'm like, good God, man, you admitted you punched the man in the face, and that's the only damn thing that matters. Critter Hunter and the girlfriends and everybody surrounding his bad behavior is what actually happened. He should have walked away.
That's the thing. In the end, it's kind of like there's an old saying: coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's beyond that point. Now it's really up to, if it goes to the courts, it's up to the court to decide whether it's warranted. You know what I'm saying? Does the guy deserve it? Honestly, I don't know enough. Even if he did deserve it, is it still warranted? You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people
Yes.
deserve to be, deserve a good beatdown, but doesn't mean you gives you the right to do so. You know what I'm saying?
We have a live stream tomorrow. I haven't decided what we're actually going to do, but we will still continue with
World Zoom is
the
loving this.
the production of crushed
Right?
quartz countertops are leading to. Did you see that? Just something came up when I was looking for Ace Bachelor. The production of crushed quartz countertops. The quartz inside there is making people ill. A couple guys are in the hospital because of it. Why would crushed quartz in the countertops cause illness?
That means the countertops are not sealed properly and it's contaminating food.
Snap, George. That's why I love George. Um, if if there's something you guys want to see, just leave comments. We answer everybody. If we have Messenger open, say who you are, like say, hey, this is Eaton Squad, Addy, which we know and everything. Or say who you are. That way we know who you guys are. We usually know you by your names on the side. But let us know the topics you guys really do want to cover. Now, we're just not going to cover all girls on Walking Street and orange bikinis or best bars and that type of stuff isn't in our wheelhouse. We're not going to pretend that we're like down on Walking Street or in those districts or helping with singles and all of that. We can give you an idea on some of that stuff, but we don't dabble in that and then try to give expat help and go through all this stuff and then showing, lifestyles of the rich and famous. We're just your average Joes over here, like literally Joe, to try to help people. But I'm not joking about Ace Bachelor. If there's a vlogger in the room that that we actually know or that's in our realm, we don't mind you guys actually joining a future
Yeah.
live stream.
And Base Bachelor, we have nothing against you. We're just joshing. That's it. A friendly,
I'm not judging. Yeah, I'm serious
No,
about
no.
him coming on and
No, no,
finding
no,
out
no.
about
I know
his
that. What I'm
life.
saying is, I know we bring him up and like we were
No,
just
Ace
joking
Bachelor
around.
has
Yeah,
definitely been in our room, and I wouldn't
yeah.
mind
No,
actually
yeah,
bringing him on. I'm actually thinking sometime in the next few live streams.
yeah.
I'll see if I can find his
Yeah. Me
email.
and
He's
Heidi
an
talked about like
interesting
maybe we should
character.
like
Bring an
talk
instant.
to Ace Bachelor. That
I
kind of
want to
stuff.
know,
Yeah.
like, get inside of his head.
Yeah.
It's like, what was you really thinking there, Ace? And hey, we can play a game show with Ace.
Right.
Dun 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 dun. Dun. What's inside of Ace Bachelor's head today? Dun 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 dun. Dun. Hey, what'd that woman look like last night? Got a photo? Did the carpet match the drapes? Do they have a shop down there for that?
I wonder.
Do you know a place where they what?
I wonder if that thing you're.
Dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun
I was
dun
wondering if it's
dun dun.
copyrighted for YouTube or not. But anyway,
What are you talking about?
play the medley, the one you're doing. But anyway,
I just made that one up.
well, I know where it's based on, but that's what I was thinking. I wonder because it's an old jingle.
Is it? Anyways,
Yeah,
I was
it's
really
still.
just
Oh well, I'm not gonna do it obviously. But anyway,
I would
Eden
dun
Squad.
dun dun dun
Oh yeah,
dun
well that
dun
one I know
dun.
is yeah.
How many times did George
You
blink
can't
during
play
the
that
live
without
stream?
yeah.
Maybe we'll just do a game show tomorrow and we'll bring in Ace Bachelor Cool. This is Ace Bachelor Cool, the #1 vlogger in Angel City and the best live stream #1 in the Philippines, Philippine Antics. And we're going to do what's on your mind.
Right. Eden Squad says, and again, this is true. They can still file for a report at the police station. Yes, they can. For this fight, especially if you are a resident.
Oh, snap, Ace.
But this could escalate to the Bureau of Immigration because it actually falls under the department. Yes. Yes.
Come
correct.
on, Ace. Ace, he comes up in the feed, so he just did one 7 hours ago. It says smart bar customers versus dumb bar customers. And he actually made a list on his whiteboard. And they're like, always talking about a whiteboard. I said, dang, we had a whiteboard like last year. And it's like, we only did it to put some things up on it. And it was like for our own notes and stuff. And now all of a sudden, Ace Bachelor's got where he's done this. But he's funny. He's hilarious. Yeah, we have to see.
One Star Flag says, well, actually, you were specific there. I'm from Texas, because it could be a cultural thing. I'm from Texas. If we are in an argument and anybody steps outside and you follow, it's fisticuffs. Actually, I thought about that after you said that. I have been invited to go outside in the U.S. We'll take this outside, and it never ended in a fight. It ended in argument, but not a fight. Difference between the two, yes. Maybe you're old school. No, I wouldn't say that. I think it's just culture. Because you said Texas, because and I'm from the Philippines, which means we're more. But there are some really, really hot-headed Filipinos out there.
Well, here's the thing. We would have to have Ace Bachelor here that we're actually looking for him because he has no emails, no links, nothing. There's absolutely nothing leading anything to anything. So
Just
I
one. Can you
can't.
imagine being old and still fit? Actually, there's a lot of that. A lot of guys who are still fit and trained. Who does that, right? No, there's a lot of fit guys who are of age and can still bring in a good,
And it
whooping.
happens a lot here. It happens a lot here.
Once,
Ace opened his channel about the time we did 4
Oh,
years ago. So
once
it'll be
our
4
flag
years in
says,
August.
no doubt, also that toothless Brit. Dang, you guys ain't right.
That was something. We had a lot of people comment on that because a bunch of them watch a few of the channels that covered that. But I just wasn't. We've always noticed he's subscribed to our channel, and I'm pretty sure he still is. And I told George, I said, a lot of people mention Americans and foreigners and all that in their titles, although he does tend to pick on it. But it could be that he's really messing with the channel that he went up against. There's like 2 channels that he's always referring to. So it then at that point became kind of personal between them. Now, if he was doing something like out of the ordinary we'd want people not to do, then we might bring him on and do like what we're doing now. But yeah, that was kind of
Right. Now, John Doe says the most that Mark could be charged with, if ever, is slight physical injuries. He may be required to apply for a bail minimal amount, and then the verdict will come 15 or 20 years on. Now,
I wouldn't say minimal.
it varies only because, like I said, it's really up to, again, the defendant, as it were. Or, I mean, the prosecutor,
But
as it
that
were.
could still go into the MDI reports and an exit
R-
clearance
right.
thing. So if he ever
Well,
left,
and that's what I'm saying. It all depends. What I'm saying is, there are people who would never do a thing because they're just nice people and say, you know what, he had a bad day. Let him be. And was sure he brags about, but you know what? Let me leave him alone. And the end, which means no repercussions whatsoever. Now YouTube does a different story, but he could be
Frank, that's true.
the guy could be like, hey, I know the governor, and I know the governor knows the head of the Bureau of Immigration in our area.
I mean, I think that would be him saying the minimal or the
Right.
most that Mark could be charged with. He punched the guy. He's got black eye. He went to the hospital. I would say no. That doesn't even seem feasible. That would be the minimal
Well,
that
like
would
I
happen
said,
to him.
it all
If that
depends.
happens and this happens, it's going to go into the NBI and report every time. Even though he has his 13A, if that man ever wants to leave the country, he still has to get an ECC, which means they want to clear him. When they run the clearance, they're going to find that police report. They'll let him out, but do you realize the return could be twice as hard? They could. There's another possibility. They could keep him from entering the country. They've blackballed people just from looking at somebody sideways. It's blackballed or whatever they call that. I'm kind of off my words, but no, I mean I would agree and disagree at the same time. That I know it sounds extensive and super dramatized, but you do have to get an ECC every time I renew my visa. Every time you leave the country and enter the country, they do a background, and they do it within the Philippines stuff. If they see Mark punched a guy a few times, that officer can make a decision there on the spot to not let him back in.
Correct.
There's no two things. You put everything in jeopardy when you mess up in a country. You cannot bring that full mentality here and have a bad day. The only way they're going to accept that is if the guy walked up and how them kids did in high school and they walk on the back of you and they bump the back of your knees, that irritating thing where they almost trip you. You know how they take your knees and the back of your knees and they buckle your legs down and it bothered you in high school. It's been done. Okay. If he did that to Mark Thornton in there and caused him almost injury and Mark chased him outside and then punched the guy after that, there might be some sort of feasible, he was attacked and then he was just whatever. But this one, he still has the video up, and I'm sure hundreds of people have made copies of that video where he's admitted it. So it's too late to take it down. It doesn't mean it's a admittance of guilt for taking it down situation. I think a lot could happen.
Yeah, no,
Never even thought about he could not get back in the country,
a lot
but
could
there's
happen.
another
Yes, it
thing.
could be banned. Yes. K
That could have been
Dallas,
added
thank you
to
so
the
much for your
list.
support. We love you,
Thank
man.
you, K.
Thank you for being
Dallas.
here. Baijan Bain says he managed to control his temper, supervising dozens of staff on a cruise ships. As for striking special needs person, his daughter is autistic.
Okay, so we're back to the special needs person. We think, okay, we weren't the first ones to say that there was another incident. There was a few other bloggers that said, not Mike, not us. There was someone that said that at ground zero, he had a confrontation, whether it was physical, whether it was audio, whether confrontation does always mean fights, like at a full fight, could be an argument. That he had something out with a disabled person there that he gave a hard time to. There's no confirmation of that at all. But the guy that he got in a fight with, is we're to understand, is perfectly able body, been with Critter Hunter, diving, all of that stuff. That he is fine. He can still be disabled and die.
Well, I was going to say, be aware
there's
that disability may not be physically, visible.
Mhm.
They can be physically disabled too, but they look normal. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Tim says he's too old for that kind of shit. Bruce Davis says, "Heidi George, I'll be a partner." All right, thank you. Appreciate
sweet.
you. Chosen One says Ace Boucher doesn't fight. He's not built like that.
Oh well, yeah, Ace Bachelor, yeah, no. So
Ruby says, "How about mud wrestling for Angel City vloggers on who is the number one?"
He's not built like what? I mean, he's not exactly tiny either. I don't get the built part.
There is really no process on what is the process to deny a vlogger for putting up YouTube material containing incriminating criminal matters.
There is none. We've seen all kinds of incriminating stuff. It's a matter of somebody's going to report you and give your channel, do multiple reports, and then it's a matter of YouTube finding it physically. Because our person talked about yesterday, our manager had mentioned something in regards to, different type of content. Like there's even videos out there now where people are half nude, like literally body parts showing. They don't catch those half the time. Eventually they catch those. So there is people that manually work for Google that go through these accounts. So, and there's government people here that go through the accounts, by the way. There are governmental people here that go through the accounts too, just like in any country. So there's really nothing except for the guideline would mention the talking of the violence and attacking somebody, and it is in a sense something criminal. You just don't touch people like that physically. I get the words thing that should have just passed through. I get the irritating thing. It's been done to me since I've been here, but I'm not going to go act on it when somebody's still heckling me from a distance. It's just it's just something I would have avoided. I keep repeating that. I can't repeat that enough, but it's still enough that something could happen.
No, and there still could. Bruce Davis says Frank Ellis is really sad over words, and like you said, they were friends, and now the guy will lose everything.
Yeah. And they're saying on the backside it was about the women, something about who he used to date, saying something's transactional, something that, if there's really something bad going between Critter Hunter and him and a lot of sad words, it was because he mentioned the other diving place. He told people not to invest. The brother-in-law, all of this stuff. There was all this, he said, she said, he said, all this back and forth. It all came down to women, the diving shop, Critter Hunter sending alleged this and saying this, and it was all a bunch of this little chismus stuff and other things tied up where everybody just got somebody's panties got in a knot.
Right. One star says only people that get whooped sue. It's like an old guy complaining they get scammed by a 20-year-old after he dropped $5K US dollars and he played himself. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Love you, man. Scott says George should dress in a mankini and a wrestling match like a luchador and challenge the Dumaguete guys.
Well, he wouldn't have calmed the guy down at that point because he posted the video. Like, didn't take long for him to post the video.
Well, that's what I said. It's the apology should be before the video, but
yeah, now it's just kind of all over.
Yeah. Bruce Davis says, yeah, I agree with you, Scott. Great idea.
It was kind of like when we covered the Campbell channel. We weren't like just going in after Rose or David by himself. I'm disabled myself. I'm an American expat. He said things about us, even on the side. We're like, we weren't trying to personally attack David itself. It was some of the actions that were going down that we had brought into light and whatever. And then everybody thought we were just personally just doing an attack, like on the P2, like the bikini thing. Oh, it's because you just don't like her because she's pretty and because she was this. It's like we never look at things in that light. There was a lot of things that was going down with David forever, and it's it's a too late. There's at some point where it's just too little, too late. And they were like, I was like, hold up, they're the ones that released the videos. You want to come down on me after they released these videos? Remember, that was the biggest thing. They were like, well, you're just trying to grow numbers off the Campbell channel and you're just this because of that. And I'm like, they're the ones that released a video incriminating themselves, or they did this, that did that. And, like the Campbells and others that we've covered. And I'm like, they're the ones that have put their own lives out there like we do. If somebody's going to come down the road and say, Heidi, we seen you yelling at George and you was popping off about this and that just a couple months ago and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you're right. That's me. I released it. It's on me. It's, you accept it, and whatever like goes down. It's like, it was funny because it's always them that put those videos out. Like when Mike covers it or Sunshine or anybody else that covers these side people, it's like,
Be
but they
aware,
put their own.
they put it out there. Nobody. It's different if it's a third party, kind of like the paparazzi.
Yeah, like if I was following around Mark Thornton or Old Dog, and then I caught him smoking a cigarette and eating a piece of corn without teeth or something, and something weird like that happened, then I could see that I was just starting and just really dwelling on him, and I was looking for things while I was in Dumaguete.
Right.
That's not us, guys. If you put your shit out there, we're gonna cover it.
Well, I mean, but again, actually, again, this is something you don't do because you can literally get
Yeah,
deported.
it's not always
Yes.
our stuff. It's funny too, because we pretty much cover this about 6 times a year, this type of stuff. That's average for us. And then it's always that the people, don't eat the quartz countertop. Right? It just came up my feed when I was looking to see if Mark had done any additional footage. And it showed a guy with like he's got like oxygen, and it shows he looks like he's got the flu, and it said some have passed away from it. But you're right, they didn't seal it
No,
properly.
it's not sealed properly, and therefore there's contamination.
So if I eat the cheap quartz ring you got me for our wedding as my wedding stone, then something might happen.
Yeah.
Thanks, George. Your Chinese quartz ring.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious.
Philippines.
Chosen One says, I bet Ace was a former teacher. Oh, I think he's talking about his whiteboard.
I don't know about that. It's but like you said, if he's out there, I mean, if not, there's no way.
Dang, white star flag. That's messed up and funny at the same time. That whiteboard needs an STD test.
It's hard saying. That might be could be using it for a bed.
You guys are funny. Frank Ellis says there's a lot of machismo in Texas. The reason why he said that because One Star Flag says in Texas when they say let's take it outside, in Texas I think it really means let's have a fight.
Look at your cat trying to get in over there, babe. Aw.
Sad said my wife sat on a jury case here in the U.S. Similar case. That makes sense.
He's just saying he got under. Mike really got under. What's his name? Skin. They're talking about. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up, guys. We love you and love to stick around. It's lunchtime. A few additional. We do have another, like I said, video coming out. It's just when we went out for Valentine's Day at the local Sam Gypsy or Zem Gypsel. And it's kind of cute. We will have a live stream tomorrow for you guys. So we'll be live in less than 24 hours. Let's see. I don't know what that even means.
No, he's been at it. It's been going on, but
you can time it out.
Yeah, see.
Who?
It's specific. It's very specific.
Well, go back to the other one.
Well, there's that one. There's more, but
So they're picking on her.
yeah.
Oh
so-
yeah, no, just
yeah.
no, we won't tolerate.
Yeah, sorry about that, Ruby.
Understand that we do. I meant to look back at.
I mean, like I said, there's freedom of speech, but if when you start to attack, especially our viewers, I'm sorry.
Our viewers come
and I
first,
apologize
so
to you, Ruby,
usually-
for that.
And even in the past,
harassment.
we've actually had where people seem too trollish and make comments about other channels. You know, like when somebody says something about Mike or doesn't say something, we used to just get rid of them right away. And we're trying to give people more of a voice. But if somebody's coming in talking about grammar or this or that, I type fast all the time. I say things that don't make any sense. That's fine. We all and she's them people have to. But anyways,
Oh yeah, we're at. Aw, Ruby says we will miss your live stream tomorrow. It's my daughter's engagement party. Congratulations
so
on your daughter.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so we will be live within 24 hours, guys. Thank you to everybody that was here.
Yeah, thank you so
and
much.
dropping in. Subscribe
Appreciate
on the way out, guys. It does help. And do a thumbs up on the video.
Thank you so much, Brewmeister. Thank you for the popcorn fun.
Sunshine.
Thank you so much, Calvin. Sunshine Shoulders. Thank you so much for your support. Todd M. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man.
Ruby and Sarah, thank you so much.
Chosen as one as always. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Chosen
K
one.
Dallas, of course, a regular supporter. K Dallas. Thank
Scott
you so much.
in the world as I see it. We had Ted was in the
Thanks
house.
so much, Big Dave. 1-star flag. JPJ. Gary Barber. Frank Ellis. Thank you so much. Tim Husk.
To our members.
Oh
that
yeah,
are
and of
here.
course, DV8. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
DV8.
those that actually appeared.
Thank you so
NYK
much.
was in
NYK
here.
Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate
We had
you.
Addie in the house today.
Yes, Bruce Davis. We had Eden Squad. Yes, Addie. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Scott in the world as I see it. Ted.
Scott.
Of course.
Who, you mean old Scoot Hicks?
Right, old Scoot. Oh, we have and irregular guy, not regular guy. Irregular guy was here with us. Thank you
now,
so much, guys.
We do have regular guy that is a subscriber. I will.
No.
That's another one. Hey,
Yeah.
if you drop in
Thank
at
you,
any point, regular
regular
one,
guy.
same with you.
Thanks
We'd
for
like to
watching
meet
us.
up with you too.
Yeah.
We're looking to meet up with some
Thad,
vloggers
thank
that
you.
y'all know.
Todd
y'all
M. Thank you so much.
know.
John Wheeler and Avalon. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Thank
Take
you
care.
guys for being here. Philippine Antics.
The
Philippine
best.
Antics out. We are the best live stream, the only live stream in the Philippines where it's an American female expat, and of course, just George here, just a Filipino hubby. We're the only ones doing.
Yeah,
a
next
live
live
stream.
will be Chosen One versus
here in the
H
Philippines.
Bachelor.
Now there
Cool.
might be couples like that in the U.S. and might do the occasional live stream, but there's nobody like us here. I'm gonna promise you that one. So keep it real.
Heidi's unique.
God bless.
Love you guys.
Get your hands off me. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys. God bless.